Baba Shuaib, the correctional officer, born in Accra, Ghana, a Quranic researcher and a critical thinker based on religion, who does online lectures based on the guidance of the Quran on platforms such as Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok since 2018. In Finland, and 13 years, QBE, in Classical Arabic and MSA in Quranic Arabic. The author of the Refer to the Quran, which helps every novice to understand the steps towards understanding the great Quran and the guidance of God in it.
Time to rise and meet the challenge. Baba Shuaib is calling you out. Meet Baba Shuaib, a correctional officer with a mission. Today he's throwing down the gauntlet to the mushriks, no more holding back. With his logo shirt and cap, Baba Shuaib sits tall and confident. He says, the time for action is now. It's time to rise, to push past limits, and to become the best versions of ourselves. Baba Shuaib believes in the power of determination and resilience. His challenge is simple. Stand up, face your fears, and conquer them. Every day is a new opportunity, he says. An opportunity to grow stronger, to be better, and to leave a mark on the world. So, are you ready to accept Baba Shuaib's challenge? Are you ready to rise above and beyond? Join Baba Shuaib and let's show the world what we're made of, because the only limit is the one you set for yourself.
So the old man said, it's like, what baffles me, he wasn't supposed to do that video, because the video is just to attest to what I said. Everything I said, nothing was a lie. Everything I said against him was the truth. But what baffles me is how he tries to come and explain himself, and he sounds so boring, for God's sake. Come on. Who wastes his time watching you for 4 hours, man? Come on. Baba Shuaib, all I ask for is the old man, please. Old man, you know I've been doing my live programs on Wednesday. Wallahi, Hamza Malik, you know I've been doing my programs on Wednesdays. All you need to do is just come. I told you respectfully, I will never disrespect you if you come on my live stream in front of my audience. You understand? You are an elder. But if you go to the dirty waters, I'll follow you there. But the point is, you know, I asked for a dialogue. Look, the best way to sort this argument out is a dialogue, one-on-one. You're watching me and I'm watching you. Let's take every topic or every step by step. Then we are going to question you how you said the Fatiha is a Jewish prayer. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to him. Listen to him. Listen to what he said.
And I'm saying that the Fatiha is a Jewish prayer. It's a Jewish prayer. Got nothing to do with the Muslims. It's a Jewish prayer.
You heard the old man. He says Fatiha is a Jewish prayer. It has nothing to do with the Muslims. Now, this is where I told you the old man is confused. I'm serious. You know, he's 80 years, above 80, I think I can say. So he's confused. You know, he's very confused, to be honest. I told him to leave this for the young guys to handle. He's confused. He said, Fatiha has nothing to do with the Muslims, but yet we find the same surah in the book of God. Yeah? Quran chapter 15 verse 87, God told the prophet, وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَاكَ سَبْعًا مِنَ الْمَثَانِ وَقُرْآنَ الْعَظِيمِ. God says, we gave you the 7 of the oft, that is that which is repeated, and then the great Quran. It was given to the prophet. Then we have an old man saying that the Fatiha is not from God, and again, it is the Jewish prayer, and it has nothing to do with the Muslims. This man is confused. So let me show you how confused he is. Now, yes, Salam Tujis, I see you. Let me show you how confused is it. If you go to Quran, I'm going to show you something. When you go to Quran chapter 2, verse 140. Chapter 2, verse 140, then I'll share the screen to show you something. I want to show you something that this man doesn't even know the difference between Jews and children of Israel. He doesn't know. Now, in Quran chapter 2, verse 140, God says, or are you saying that Abraham, Ishmael, Isaac, Jacob, and the Asbat, when we say Asbat, they are the grandsons. You can say the tribes or the grandsons, right? The tribes or the grandsons. Okay, so these tribes God is saying, or are you saying that Abraham, Ishmael, Isaac, Jacob, and the grandsons, which is the tribes, were Jewish or Christians? Because they were not Jewish, they were not Christians, right? So this is how people mistaking the word Jews for the children of Israel. There's a big difference. Out of children of Israel, some are Jewish. Yes, some, because Judaism, Jewish, this thing is a creed people follow, right? Okay, so we're Jewish or Christian. Then God says, "Say, are you more knowing, or is God?" Because God has to clarify the truth to you. And who is more unjust than one who conceals a testimony with him from God? And God is not heedless of what you do. So this man you have here, Hamza Malik, he thinks children of Israel automatically are the Jews. That is his, so according to him, Moses is a Jew. According to him, Jesus is a Jew. This is his understanding because he used to be a Christian. So he brought that concept into Islam. Anyway, he's not a Muslim, by the way. I don't consider him a Muslim. So now this asbat, I want to show you this asbat. The word asbat that you see in Arabic here, al-asbat. When you go to Quran chapter 7, verse 160. In Quran chapter 7, verse 160, then God says, and we divided them into 12 tribal nations. If you want to understand the context, it is talking about the children of Israel. That is the people of Moses, when they went for the conference with God, and then God shook the earth. And then God is telling us what happened, how he divided them into 12 tribes. Now, when you read up to verse 60, it says, and we divided them. Who are them? The children of Israel. Read the context. In 12 tribal nations. This tribal, you see the word asbat. So check here. You see the word asbata. Asbata. These tribal nations, this group, the children of Israel, who are divided into 12 tribes, are not Jews. They were not Jewish, they were not Christians. The people of Moses were not Jewish. The people of Isa, they were not Jewish. And I will explain to you. People mistaking the word Jews with children of Israel. This is a tribal nation related by blood, as a clan related by blood. That is about your lineage. Judaism is about a religion, it's about a cult, it's about a creed. And I'm going to break it down for you to understand. And we divided them into 12 tribal nations, and we inspired to Moses when his people asked him for water, that strike the stone with your staff, then 12 springs poured from it. Every people already knew their drinking place. And we shaded them with clouds and sent down to them manna and quails. Eat from the good things which we have provided for you. And they did not wrong us, but they were wronging themselves. Now, do you see the word asbat? So this asbat, the tribal nations God divided among the children of Israel, they are the asbat. So God is asking a question in Quran chapter 2, verse 140. Or are you saying Abraham, Ishmael, Isaac, Jacob, and the asbat, that is the tribes, or the grandsons, were Jewish or Christians? Is that what you're saying, Hamza Malik? Okay, anyways, they were already Muslims. They were Muslims. They submitted to God. Abraham, his children, his grandsons, everyone submitted to God. They were Muslims. So now, to place more emphasis, when you go to Quran chapter 5, verse 44, to place more emphasis, to show you the difference, that the prophets were not Jewish. Let me show you something. Indeed, we sent down the Torah. That is Quran chapter 5, verse 44. Indeed, we sent down the Torah. Then God says what? Wherein is guidance and light. Then he says the prophets who submitted, meaning who were Muslims, Aslamu, who submitted to God, because the prophets of God were submitted to God. They were not Jewish, they were not Christians. You are a fool to think any prophet of God was a Jew. You are a fool to think any prophet of God was a Christian. You are the biggest fool ever to think any prophet of God was a Jew. What religion is that? Did God give anybody a religion called Judaism? Did God give anybody a religion called Christianity? Where? So the prophet who submitted, just like Abraham submitted in Quran chapter 2, verse 131, when God told him, Aslim, then he says, Aslamtu li Rabbil Alamin. I submit to the Lord of the worlds. Right? Okay. So Abraham himself, including his children, his descendants, were all submitters to God. Now, the prophet who submitted, judged by the Torah, for those who were Jewish. So it was the prophets who were Muslims who now used the book, the Torah, to now judge those who were Jewish. And so did the rabbis and the scholars by what they were entrusted of the book of God. And they were witnesses to it. So do not fear the people, but fear me. And do not trade my verses for a little price. And whoever does not judge by what God has revealed, then those are the disbelievers. Now, when you read these verses, it is not telling you the prophets were Jewish. No. Even according to Quran chapter 17, verse 2, God says, وَآتَيْنَا مُوسَى الْكِتَابَ وَجَعَلْنَا هُدًى لِبَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ أَلَّا تَتَّخِذُوا مِن دُونِي وَكِيلًا. Yes. Yes. Salam Baba Shuaib. So the children of Israel were the ones given the book as guidance for them. But out of the children of Israel, there are even people who were ummi. They are ummiyuna among the children of Israel. We have people who are even unlearned. They never learned the book. Let me give you an example. So it is not only among the Arabs that we have ummiyuna. Even among the children of Israel. Let me show you an evidence. Quran chapter 2, verse 78. If you go to Quran chapter 72, verse 78, if you want to understand the context, start reading from above. You can start from verse 59. Read downwards up to verse 78. You see that it is talking about the children of Israel. Among the children of Israel, we have ummiyuna. So it is not only among the Arabs that are ummiyuna. So God says, and among them, read the context to understand, it's talking about children of Israel, are the unlearned, which is the ummiyuna, who never learned. They never learned the scripture of God, the book of God, who do not know the book. They don't know the scripture, except desires, and they are only assuming. So among even the children of Israel, we have ummiyuna, just like we have Christians among the children of Israel, just like we have Jews among the children of Israel, because they decided to choose those things for themselves. So when you read this context, for instance, Quran chapter 2, verse 59, this is what it says. Check what it says. God says concerning the people of Moses that, but those who transgress change to a statement other than what they were told. So we send down a punishment from the sky upon those who transgress because they were acting immoral. Do you see? So when you say the children of Israel are the Jews, it means you are kaput in the head. It means you don't even know the book of God. You are totally out of coverage area. So this man says Fatiha is for the Jews. You are confused, old man. Well, okay, who told you? Where did you get that knowledge? Who told you that Fatiha is for the Jews? Do you see how these people concoct their own understanding into the book of God? Please, ladies and gentlemen, ask the old man, Hamza Malik, who told him that Fatiha is for the Jews? Who? Hypocrite. Come and tell us. Who? I dare you, the day I get you one-on-one in the dialogue, you stop laughing. Seriously, old man. Who told you that Fatiha is for the Jews? Hypocrites. You find Fatiha in the book of God, which Muslims are holding the book of God, and you are saying, no, it is not for the Muslims, it is for the Jews. I catch you, you explain. By the way, stop sitting far away and explain. You are wasting people's time. Baba Shuaib is calling for a dial. My phone number is there. I'll put up the link. I dare you, the mega hypocrites, any of you, I dare you to come for a one-on-one dialogue. And let's see if you can stand the test of time in front of the correctional officer. I told you, mega hypocrites. You are hypocrites, wallahi. Okay. Now, this man is saying that he went ahead to say that he's still insisting that Maryam has a husband. So which means Isa has a father. According to them, the mega hypocrites, you will never find a verse in the Quran where it says Isa has a father. You will never find in the Quran where it says Maryam was married. You will never find in the Quran where it says Maryam slept with a man. You will never find in the Quran where it says the father of Isa. It doesn't exist. Then we have some hypocrites among us still insisting by twisting words of God and trying to interpolate their understanding into the words of God. Remember, Quran chapter 10 verse 82, God says he will enforce the truth with his words, even if the criminals like Hamza Malik dislike it. I repeat, Quran chapter 10 verse 82, وَيُحِقُّ اللَّهُ الْحَقَّ بِكَلِمَاتِهِ وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْمُجْرِمُونَ. God will enforce the truth with his words, even if the criminals like Hamza Malik dislike it. A criminal is the one trying to interpolate his own words into the words of God. God never said Isa has a father. God never said it anywhere. As a matter of fact, I'm going to rubbish his claims again to show you that this man doesn't want to be corrected. You know, sometimes, you know, the old age, you know, it's difficult to change the old ways of that kind of mentality. But anyways, let me show you something. I'm going to show you something from the story of Maryam. We are going to read intellectually. Let's read to see the intellect God is giving you. I told you you can only enforce the truth with the words of God, right? Okay, so let's use the words of God to enforce the truth. When you read Quran chapter 19 verse 16, I'm going to read up to verse 34, and we are going to see if Isa has a father. And mentioned in the book is Mary. Let me put it on the screen. And mentioned in the book is Mary when she retreated away from her family. Now listen carefully. She retreated away from her family. So if she is married, that means the man included. Listen carefully. God is talking to wise people, not fools. Remember, some old people can become fools also. So don't take any advice, sometimes every advice from some old people, not every old person, but some old people, don't take advice from them, please. And when she retreated away from her family, because if she's married, meaning she retreated away from her family, including her husband, her father, her mother, whoever she has, she retreated away from them. Good. And she took a partition other than them or theirs. Then we sent our spirit to her, and it appeared to her as a normal human. Verse 18, she, Mary, said, I seek protection with the gracious against you if you should be pious. Verse 19, he, the Spirit, said, I am only a messenger of your Lord to grant you a pure boy. She said, how can I have a boy while no man has touched me? And I have not been a whore, meaning she was not sleeping around, because usually when a lady sleeps around, mistakenly somebody can impregnate her, right? Okay. Now, Mary was not supposed to mention this statement if she was married. God is speaking to wise people. Listen carefully. I tell you, Baba Shuaib, I will expose the fools, hypocrites, mushriks for you every time. That's why I'm called the correctional officer. And they will not dare step on my platform in front of me. I will embarrass them. Mark it on the wall. Listen carefully. If Maryam was married, she would not use this question to the Spirit. She said, how can I have a boy while no man has touched me? And I have not been a whore. If she was married by having a husband, she wouldn't have told the angel, the Spirit, this statement. She will not say, how can I have a boy while no man has touched me? Unless if the husband is a metal or is a wood. Now, and again, and I have not been a whore. So even if she was not married, that means she slept with somebody. Okay, but let's see what happens. He, the Spirit, said, thus said your Lord, it is easy for me so that we may render him a sign. That is why Isa was made as a miracle. Now you tell me, what is the miracle in a man and a woman just sleeping and having a child? It's common. Everything which is common everywhere does not become a miracle again. A miracle happens once in a lifetime, especially. It's not something which happens frequently. We don't call it a sign. We don't call it a miracle anymore. Are you getting the point? The reason why God wants to render Isa as a sign, because it's unprecedented. It never happens anywhere. So God is going to make Isa as a sign. I dare the mega hypocrite, including Hamza Malik himself, come and show me in the Quran where any prophet was rendered as a sign, as a miracle himself. The prophet as a sign. God rendered Isa as a sign. So if this lady, Maryam, had a husband who was sleeping with her already, where is the sign there? If this lady already slept with somebody who is having a child with her, where is the sign there? It's normal. That means it's happening everywhere. The verses are going to reveal the truth. Then the hypocrite will be exposed. Okay. God is going to render him a sign for the people and a mercy from us. And the matter was decreed. So now it has been decreed. So she conceived him. Now when she conceived him and retreated to a distant location with him, which means with the pregnancy, then so the pains of labor brought her to the trunk of a date palm. She said, oh, if only I had died before the pregnancy, and was obliviously forgotten. She wished she had died. Every woman who has been in labor or who has carried a pregnancy will tell you how it feels like when the labor, the pains of the labor happens. You know, every woman who has had a child before can tell you how it feels like. Verse 24. So the child called her from beneath, that do not grieve. Your Lord has made a brook, right, below you. 25. So shake the trunk of the date palm. Before you, a fresh harvest will light upon you. Remember, Isa was not just like any other child. This is a special child, and it is a child with Holy Spirit. So these things happening shouldn't be a normal thing that you see around you. Somebody will say, how can a child be speaking to her from inside her? Are you nuts? Isa is not a normal child just like you and I. You understand? Okay. Now, verse 26. So eat and drink and entertain the eyes. And if you see anyone among humans, then say. So if she was already with her family, why is now God now telling her, if you see anyone among the humans? If she was already with her husband who impregnated her, allegedly the father of Isa, according to the mega hypocrites we have among us. I told you they were hypocrites. This thing happened right now. Baba Shuaib is exposing the hypocrites we have among the so-called Quran alone followers. You are seeing them with your naked eye. The verses of God will be exposing them day in, day out. So far as Baba Shuaib is alive, those people who stay far away and throw stones, they can never, never step foot in front of me. Now, then say, indeed, I have pledged an abstinence to the gracious, so I will never speak to a human today. Now let's go forward. So she brought him, that is the child, to her kindred, that is to her family, carrying him. They, the kindred, said, oh Mary, you have certainly came up with something unprecedented. So this is where the important issue is. Do you see the word fariya? The word fariya means something which is unique, something which never happens before, something which is unprecedented, something which is remarkable, amazing, something which is like, I don't know. Please, ladies and gentlemen, search for yourself the word fariya. Search for the word fariya, this word. Search for the word fariya, right? You understand the meaning. Now, if this is a common thing, if a man and a woman sleeps together and they have a child, it's not something unique. It is not unprecedented. The moment you say something is unprecedented, it never happens before. Ladies and gentlemen, listen carefully. God is speaking to the wise people, not fools. It is the foolish people who will tell you Isa has a father. Right? Wise people who read the verses of God, they are convinced by the verses of God because God is speaking the truth. Quran chapter 10 verse 82. وَيُحِقُّ اللَّهُ الْحَقَّ بِكَلِمَاتِهِ وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْمُجْرِمُونَ. God will enforce the truth with his words, not somebody's words, not that old man's words, Hamza Malik's words, because the man has been twisting words in the Quran anyway. He doesn't even have his own translated Quran. You don't know the translated Quran he's using. He is making something, everything jumbo. I don't know what is it, heebie-jeebies or whatever. When I catch that man, he's going to prove to us where he gets the meaning of the words from. So she brought him to a kindred carrying him. Then the kindred said, "Oh Mary, you have suddenly came up with something unprecedented. Because she's a woman, she has brought a child. No man has touched her. Now she brought a child that is unprecedented. If it has happened before, that means she slept with somebody. It's not unprecedented anymore. That is normal. Oh, Mary, we already know you are married. The family don't need to question you because, Mary, you have a husband, right? Oh, maybe your husband met you in the car, right? Or he met you behind the cave, right? So he slept with you. So what is unprecedented about that? If she had a husband, God is speaking to the wise people. Listen carefully. If Mary had a husband, there's nothing unprecedented about that. Yes. There's nothing remarkable. Look, these mega hypocrites. Anyways, so now the word Faria, it is something unheard of, never happened, unprecedented. So now, if the family already knows she has a husband or she has a man, why are they questioning her for bringing a child? Hey, anyways, let's go for it. So let's go forward. Oh, Mary, you have certainly came up with something unprecedented. Verse 28. Oh, sister of Aaron, your father was not a bad man, nor was your mother a whore. This is where they will have told her, nor was your husband this. Or they started talking. They say, oh, sister of Aaron, your father was not a bad man, nor was your mother a whore. So if she was married, why all this question? Why are they asking her, your father is not a bad man, your mother is not a whore? Oh, so she has a husband and they are asking her all this? Can't they know that the husband made her pregnant if she had a husband? Hey, Hamza Malik. So you leave these clear verses of God to bring in your twisted brain, whatever, heebie-jeebies into the verses of God. Hey, verse 29. So she pointed to the child. The family said, the kindred, they said, how can we speak to one who is a baby in the cradle? He, the child, said, indeed, I am a servant of God. He has given me the writing, which is the writing, the Al-Kitab, and made me a prophet. And he, God, has made me blessed wherever I would be, and has ordained me the Salat and the Zakat as long as I live. Now, this is the interesting part. And to be nice to my mother, the word there used there is walidati. Walidati. These mega hypocrites, again, don't even understand Arabic. So they don't even know the difference between female parents and male parents. Now, according to their foolishness, they are saying that Isa left his father out, and now he is saying that God instructed him to be nice to his mother. Where is the father? No, so excuse me. Where is the father? So Isa was commanded to be nice to his father, to his mother alone. Where is the father in this picture? Ladies and gentlemen, where is the father in this picture? Where is the father? Hey. Mm. A single parent, and it's a female parent because he says walidati. Walidati, it means a female parent. So he has to be nice to his mother. Where is the father in this verse? So are you telling me God of all people will send his messenger and then he will tell him to only be grateful or respectful to his mother and leaving the father out? We are going to expose this hypocrite, Hamza Malik. I'm going to take you to Quran chapter 17. I'm going to show you something. We are going to come back. In Quran chapter 17, concerning our parents, this is what God says. In Quran chapter 17, verse 23, among the wisdom God has given us, he said, and your Lord has decreed not to worship except him, and be good to the parents. Be good to the parents. This is the Arabic word. The Arabic word here is walidaini, two parents. Walidaini, walidaini, to be good to both of them, be nice to them, be good to them, both parents. Then it says, whether one of them reaches old age with you or both of them, then do not say to them, nor shall you rebuff them, but speak to them a noble speech. Okay, now let's go back to Quran chapter 19, verse 30. We go to verse 32. And to be nice to my parent, that is the female parent, that is his mother, and has not made me tough and scoundrel. Verse 33. And peace be upon me the day I was born, the day I will die, and the day I will be resurrected alive. Verse 34. That was Jesus, the son of Mary. Hello? The son of who? The son of Maryam. The son of Maryam. The word of truth, which they are disputing about. Like the mega hypocrites, disputing about what God is saying clearly here. Then God says, it is not for God to have a son. We are never saying Jesus is the son of God. We are never saying Jesus has a father. Nowhere does it say he has a father. Nowhere in the Quran does it ever say Jesus has a father. I dare you, the mega hypocrites. I'll open the phone lines. I'll put the link. I dare any of you, come and show me where it says Isa has a father. I dare you. I just dare you. Because out of your foolishness, you are tagging the Christians for saying that Jesus is God. Yet you are asking them to show you a verse where it says, where does it say Jesus is God? By Jesus himself, right? Is that not what you, the mega hypocrites, are asking the Christians? Especially you, Hamza Malik, the hypocrite. All the debates you did with the Christians, you keep asking them to prove where Jesus himself said he's God, right? Okay, so come and prove to us where God says Jesus has a father. I dare you. It is not for God to have a son. Glory be to him. Whenever he issues a command, then he only says to it, be, then it becomes. Now, what people fail to realize is when you go to Quran chapter 3, verse 59, let me break down this instance. In Quran chapter 3, verse 59, God says, indeed, the example of Jesus with God, not with us. Listen carefully. Fools don't know how to comprehend this verse, so they twist everything. The example of Jesus with God, not with us, just like a day in front of us, a day with God is 1,000 of our years. So you can see it's not equivalent. It's not the same. A day with God is 1,000 of our years. Are you listening? A day with God is 1,000 of our years. So now, this example of Jesus, the example of Jesus with God, not with us, with God is like the example of Adam. So to us, it doesn't match. Because to us, we know Adam doesn't have a father and mother, right? According to us. And then we know Isa only has a mother and doesn't have a father. according to us. We know that. So we don't see the similarity there. But according to God, because he uses a command to let it happen. So according to God, he created him from dust. Then he said to him, be, and he became. So this is the be and he became that God is talking about. Just like he spoke about after the statement concerning Isa. In Quran chapter 19, verse 34, 35, he used the same be. He issues the command be, then it becomes, right? So with Adam, be, then he became. But this example God is comparing, that is according to God, with God, not with us. So he says, indeed, the example of Jesus with God is like the example of Adam. So it is God making the comparison according to him, not us. Are you getting the logic here? Okay. Yes. So now when you take the verses God is talking about, nowhere, if you are wise in your head, nowhere does he give you any hints that Isa has a father. Nowhere. Nowhere in the Quran. Ladies and gentlemen, some people are saying, oh, what is happening now? You people are causing division. We don't have to be divided. No, division will happen whether you like it or not. The truth is what divides people. So I'm going to show you a verse. Quran chapter 8, verse 5. Let me show you what causes division. In Quran chapter 8, verse 5, when the prophet was alive, this is what happened. God says, just as your Lord brought you out of your house. Yes, in Quran chapter 8, verse 5, Surah Al-Anfal, just as your Lord brought you out of your house with the truth, while indeed a group of the believers were averse. So some people will claim they are believers, but the moment you throw the truth to their faces, they become averse. They hate it. Then God says, arguing with you about the truth after what had become clear. The thing is very clear as day and light. Nowhere in the Quran does it say Isa has a father. Then we have some hypocrites among us, all of a sudden, twisting words, bringing on their own meaning and saying Isa has a father. I dare you, come and show us who is the father of Isa. Come and show us who is the father of Jesus. Come, I dare you. Arguing with you about the truth after what had become clear. It is clear as day and night. Jesus doesn't have a father. But you keep saying Jesus has a father. You are a fool. Wallahi. Who is a fool? Someone who lacks good judgment. If you have a good judgment, you will never say Jesus has a father. Now, as if they were being driven to death while they were looking. So when you see people divided, it's only about the truth. Division will happen whether you like it or not, because some people hate the truth. Even at the time of Prophet Muhammad, he couldn't bring all the believers together. They were divided, just like the verses I just quoted. Believers became divided. Some became hypocrites, and some stick to the truth. So people who are willing to stick with the truth, they will let God do the speaking. And then they will listen to what God says. They will not twist words and bring on their own interpolation and then start twisting, playing with the words of God. Are you getting my point? Okay. Let me share the link. Where's the link? Let me share the link. I'm putting the link in the comment section. That is the link, the invite link for my StreamYard. If you want to join, you come. If you join, if you have a camera, kindly show your face. If you don't have a camera, no problem. But if you have a camera, kindly show your face and join the link. And then my phone number is there. That is my WhatsApp number. You can also call on the program. The number is +358 466 803144. That is the WhatsApp. You can call via WhatsApp. Then we have the StreamYard link. It is there on the page. For those on YouTube, also, I put it directly. For those watching on Facebook, you see the link pasted there. You can just copy it and then hop on, right? So kindly call. Muhammad Shafiq, you do yourself a favor. If you can call, it will be better. Call instead of being in the comment section and just writing gibberish. It will not help. Just join the link. Come and justify for your Hamza Malik. Or maybe if you think you know better than him, come. The phone number is there. Kindly call. Because if you be in the comment section and you are typing gibberish and you think you know, or you think this and you don't come and say anything, then you are rather being the hypocrite. You understand? So just be a man, call, or tell Hamza Malik to call himself. It will be better. Everybody's watching.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you.
Wa alaikum salam, brother.
Hey, brother.
Yes. Your name and where you calling from?
My name is Murad and I'm calling from the UK.
Okay.
Yeah.
Murad, why do you like calling on my program?
Because I get some questions in it. I think about stuff and I want to like discuss it with some people. And you're always live in it, so like,
okay,
you're always the logic, so I like discussing. But
no problem.
on this topic, I agree with you. I wanted to, if you can you like speak about something else, or I just on this topic?
You said, can I speak what?
About another topic, or are you just trying to debate this topic?
You said I'm debating?
Because I'm trying to, because I was thinking about, right, that how can you be certain? Because for you to believe in the Quran, right, you need to believe in that there is God, right? Everything comes from God, correct?
Obviously, God first before even the Quran. Yeah.
So my problem is, how do you establish that fundamental truth without having a context?
The fundamental truth is something we call inevitability. For instance, you see this microphone. Mm-hmm. There is no way microphone can exist without a manufacturer.
Yeah.
Do you see? So natural instinct, Quran chapter 30, verse 30, by the natural instinct God created us. The human being is bound to know the truth. You understand? But while searching, the searching is what convinces you. Because you search and then you get convinced. Now, God says in Quran chapter 47, verse 9, he told the prophet, and know that he is God. God is one. You have to know that there is only one God. You understand? So knowing that brings certainty. Aside your belief, you have to know. So knowing that is based on information. How do you know? You know by investigation. You know by information. Then when you get the information, does it have contradiction? The answer is no. So you are convinced. Are you getting the logic there? Any information that you get that has contradiction, you cannot put your certainty there.
Yeah, but the counter argument for them, they all say, right, that microphone, right, it's highly probable that I had the manufacturer, but there's still a probability, and that probability increases over time, that it came by chance. Right? And there's an assumption. I know it sounds bad, but like, cause, to say everything must have a cause. That's the assumption. And quantum mechanics, for example, if you look at quantum physics, that whole worldview of causation is shattered. You know, there's probability. If you look at if you get very small with atoms and whatever, they go through the wall, right? Like, that should not happen. How does that happen? Because the probability, and when you get to small scales, increases of something like that happening. So even physical laws are by probability.
Yeah, the physical laws you are studying are made by human beings. The law of God doesn't change. The laws of the universe that God has set forth, it goes according to the commands of God. Right?
Yeah.
So
right.
He can cause anything to go left or right if he wants. But for instance, let's take the example. The sun, it always appears from the east. and he said from west, does it transgress the laws of God?
I mean, it comes from east, it comes from west, yeah. But like, is it gonna be like that forever?
Is
How
there?
do we know? How do you know this reality is real? How do you know if it's not a simulation? How do you know it's not illusion?
No. Now you are going further away from what we are talking about.
Okay.
We are talking about God. In order to know God, the proof of whatever the realities you see around you is a proof that God exists, because that's a creation. Number one, the trees you see around you, the sky, the sun, the moon. Who created them? No human being has ever claimed the responsibility of creating them. No entity has ever created
But
them.
you're assuming they need a creator.
I'm not assuming it has a creator.
But why does it need to have a creator? Why can't a material
Because it has a
accumulate over time?
function. Everything that has a function has a creator. This microphone
That's
was
the thing.
created for a purpose.
But you're assuming there needs to be a cause.
Then God is speaking. I'm not assuming. That is why I told you, in knowing God, you need information to know God. And God is speaking to you through your book. Can't you use the book to analyze what is happening around you? Does it add up or it doesn't?
I mean, it could add up. Like the scientific theories add up, right? Like evolution adds up. But does that mean evolution is true, right?
No, evolution has a contradiction.
What's the contradiction?
They told you came from animals.
How is that How is that?
Okay, show me.
They don't say you came from animals. They say all animals have a common ancestor.
Okay, didn't they say we came from apes?
No, they don't say we came. They say humans and apes have a common ancestor.
Where did we come from then? Where did he tell you come from?
Well, depends how far you go.
Still, you are not convinced by what they are telling you. Okay, anyways.
I'm not 100% convinced by evolution, but from an atheistic point of view, from a like, we're not assuming there's a God or no God, but from an atheistic point of view, it's the best explanation. Right? But you can't discount creation as well. Like, it's uncertain, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Like, how do you find that certainty?
As a human being, you cannot understand everything in creation. Yes. The things that God wants us to understand is what he speaks to us from the Quran about. For instance, I give an example. Can science explain magic?
Magic? Well,
yes. Can it explain magic?
Is magic real, though?
It's real.
How do you know it's real?
I've seen it. I've read it. I've investigated. I've seen magic.
Yeah, but couldn't it be just a psychological trick?
Now you
like
assume
it is, but then it's on your mind.
But you are assuming. Does Quran speak about magic or not?
Yeah, exactly. But you're assuming that thing you saw was magic, but it could be just in your mind. So it's uncertain. That's my argument.
Oh my God. Why do phenomena have words? Why do you mean I saw something and you are saying I'm assuming? What color of this shirt I'm wearing? What color is it?
Well, from what I see, from my human perception, right? It's red.
No, apart from human perception, which perception are you going to use?
Well, I can only know stuff through myself. Like, I'm the tool to know stuff, right? So the only way that I'm gonna know the world around me is to ultimately know myself. Right?
Yes. So if you know yourself, that is why you inquire from others to make sure it aligns with what you are seeing. So now this shirt, what color is it?
Well, red.
Okay, if we ask the audience, anybody who has the same perception as you will also say red. And then, as a matter of fact, we have people who can even prove it that it's red. Are you getting how logic? That's how logic works. It's not about just seeing something and saying, oh, I think I'm the only one seeing red. That's not how it works. When we are talking about the truth is something that people can ascertain. They can verify.
Yeah, but you know people that have different sights, right? Colorblind people, right? Colorblind people are going to say it's not red.
Forget about
Let's
color
agree.
branded people. When we are voting, listen, when we are voting, do we let people who are not eligible to vote?
No.
Thank you.
But
So,
technically they can rig the system or whatever. They can.
forget about rigging the system. I'm just asking you a logical question. I'm not asking you about who rigged it. We are talking about logical discussion here. Let's use reason. If you going to decide something, let's say even you, okay, hypothetically, when we are talking about American Idols, do you just go and bring any random person to come and sit down and judge? Or do you use people who are experts in their field to come and make a judgment?
Experts, obviously.
Huh?
Experts. Not
Yeah,
random people.
experts concerned.
Yeah.
Thank you. Because you are looking for something they can offer, which is actually the truth. You are not looking for somebody who will just come and assume things and say things out of nowhere. So when we are talking about logic, something that brings the truth, stop telling me about people who have deficiency. Are you getting my point? So what you came in here, your question is to bring doubt concerning God in the first place. If you doubt God, you can never arrive to the truth. You need to arrive to God before you get to the truth, because only God can give you the truth concerning this universe. Nobody else. Do you agree with me?
Do you know my main
Do you agree? Do you agree with me that only God can tell you the truth about this universe?
I mean, I do agree, but without God, you can
I don't
have
need.
no sense of.
I don't.
Without God, you can have no sense of truth or falsehood, right?
But I
You can
don't.
have no sense.
I don't
So I
need the
do
back.
agree. So I do agree with that. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Without God, there's no ultimate truth and there's no ultimate falsehood. Like there's no. It's all relative, basically.
You said there is no ultimate what?
So there's no reality. It's
No.
just an illusion.
Wait. You said there is no ultimate what?
There's no ultimate truth.
Who said so?
I mean, if there's no God, right?
No. Who said there is no God?
Huh?
Now, why are you saying huh? Who said there is no God?
Who said there is a God?
The creation of the heavens and the earth is an evidence to tell you that there's a creator, there's a God.
Yeah. Well, the most convincing argument that there's a God, there's the ultimate source of being, for me, is that something greater cannot proceed from something lesser, right? So I have consciousness.
You said
I
something greater cannot come from what?
Something lesser.
No, well, human being come from sperm?
No. What I mean, yeah. Wait. What I mean is, well, technically, the human being still came from something greater because came from a man and a woman, which are greater than that one human being, because it's a community, you know. But
Brother Murad,
what I mean by that is right. So atheists can argue, right, that materially, materially they can all come together and it's cool, right? But material is all equal, they can go up. But the consciousness, right? The consciousness is a big one. How I can perceive a world and I can try to understand, I can understand all this. But then I came from something that has no consciousness, no nothing. So where did that consciousness come from? Right? Where did that consciousness from the first principle, where did it come from? It has to come from somewhere.
God.
God, yeah.
He
So that's
gave you
my
that.
most convincing
that.
argument for me. Is that.
But Murad, where are we going with this discussion? I just want to know.
Well, then, that's the thing. I don't know where we're going with discussion. That's a conversation, innit? That's a conversation. That's the. But like, I want to put attention to consciousness, because consciousness is ultimate question, right? It's
if you have consciousness without God, you are confused.
Yeah, true. You're right.
Yes. Any consciousness.
There is confusion and disorder without God. That is true. And
one advice I have is Quran chapter 7, verse 33. God says, and to say what you do not know about God is forbidden, is haram. Wa taqulu ala Allahi ma la ta'lamun, it is haram. So when it comes to consciousness, understanding God, please, let's not be, twisting things from our assumption. Let's listen to the information God is presenting, then we absorb it. Let's not twist the narrative. It's mind-boggling. It confuses people. People can go crazy over that. I think most of us, when we were all kids growing up, we used to question that if there is no God, who is there? All of us here used to do that. But that shows you the level of your consciousness growing up, how your understanding evolves. Then you get to understand that certain type of thinking is contradictive. Because the moment you say, if there is no God, who is there? That means God is not God again, because he has someone superior. So now, when you try to think outside the realm of the way the people have to think, you can go crazy. So that is why we need to absorb what God tells us. Then we stick to that. We don't say, okay, what language does God speak? I just want to know. How can you know that, for God's sake? How? Then somebody will say, what color is God? Is he blue?
But you know, brother,
what do you need that for?
Brother, do you think that truth only comes from the Quran?
No.
Exactly, because if you're saying, oh God, guide me, right? You're saying guide me. But why would you need guidance if you just logically look at the Quran and you logically go through it and you study 100%? Why do I need guidance, right? Because I'm using my logic and everything.
The guidance we need is towards God. We don't need guidance for anything. We need guidance to God. So if you need guidance to God, yes, God has to guide you to God. If you are working in a company, who has to give you the rules and regulations of the company?
It's God.
No. If you work in the company, who has to give you the rules and regulations of the company? It is a company. They have to tell you what you need to do, how you need to do it. You don't come
there. So rules and regulation company, the owner of a company or whatever.
Thank you. So same goes with God. The guidance has to do with God, and he has to show you how to be guided to him. But when you say the truth, if you are specific and you say the truth of God, then I need God alone to tell me the truth. But if I need truth in other cycles of life, I can go for the truth without really being dependent on God, if it has to do with other matters.
Well, that's the thing. Rationality has a limit, right? I've seen you say this a lot. Like when it comes to the book of God, we use logic. We need logic because it's clear, right?
Yeah,
we need human language. It's revealed in a human language, which is already limited because it's human. Yes. And humans are limited to rationality and logic. That's the highest we can go, right?
Yes.
And you said if it's higher than logic or rationality, it's spirituality. Well, spirituality is something,
Quran has both. It has both spirituality.
Yeah, it's ingrained in both of them, but the spirituality is more hidden.
Anybody who tells you doesn't believe in spirituality is a fool. Because then if you don't believe in spirituality, it means you are putting God out of the equation. Because number one, you cannot see God.
Yeah.
And God deals with spirits. He sends spirits. He deals with spirits. You understand? So you, the human being, you were once a spirit. He blew the spirit into the dust after he made it into a shape. Then it became human. So it's spiritual. So you deal with spirits, but when it comes to the texts, you are dealing with logic. The text, you deal with logic. But understanding God goes with spirit. It's a spiritual thing. It's not just a logical thing. So if it's a logical thing, somebody will say, why can't I see God? If I don't see God, I'm not worshiping God. Are you getting the point? So, are you getting the point?
Yeah, I get the point, bro. I know it's going a bit long.
Murad, please. Anyways, my audience, I have people who are highly... Don't confuse the narrative. Murad, please, be a good boy. Stay there and don't confuse your brain, please. Anyway, we keep in touch. Stay tuned. Let me pick the next call.
Okay,
Thank you. I appreciate it. Bye-bye. Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was Murad. I think last time when I did a program, he called in This is the link. I'm expecting some people to actually call in to join the link. Let's have a discussion. Richard Green, you are laughing. Please. Somebody is calling from Ghana. Yes, salam. Wa alaikum salam. Your
name is Yakub. Yeah.
Yakub. Okay, nice to meet you, bro.
I'm calling from Ghana.
Nice to meet you, my brother. How may I help you?
Thank you. I have this question to talk before.
Okay.
There is this statement that these Muslim brothers have been making. They say that before anything happens, God already wills it.
Before anything happens.
Before anything happens. It is God who already willed it to happen.
MJ.
Like
before anything happens, it is God who willed it for it to happen. Okay, I'm listening.
For it to happen, yes. Then I was asking, so if I commit a sin, is it God who asked me to commit the sin?
No, asking to do is different from willing.
Okay, like if I commit a sin,
yes,
is it God who willed it for me to commit the sin or not?
Yeah, He gave you the free will.
And I want to know whether you do support this claim or not.
It's a free will. God has already granted us free will. Do you agree or not?
Actually, yes, I know.
So if God has granted everyone free will, it means anything you do is based on the will of God, because He gave you the free will. He can restrict the will, right? But He gave you free will. So anything you do, even though it's your choice to decide, but He has given you the will to do that.
Okay.
It's a logical statement. It shouldn't be confusing. Listen to the statement carefully.
Okay.
God has given us free will. Out of His will, He gave the human being free will. He even gave the genes also free will. So now, who gave the will? God. So that is the will of God.
Okay.
To have free will. So He gave you the choice to even decide to be a believer. If you don't want to be a believer, that's up to you. It's a will. So if you decide to go and steal, He gave you the free will to do that. But in order to control your free will, then He gave you rules and regulations just to see how you control your free will. So He said, do not steal. So if He said, do not steal, and if you are not stealing, that means you are going in accordance, abiding to the rules.
Okay.
Yes. So that is how the will God has given us works. So everything that happens is according to His will. Because if He doesn't will, He will take the free will away from
you. Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
Yes. So that's just it.
And there's another question I want to ask. Mostly I do see people in Ghana here that they said that Malams and co. They say I'm helping people spiritually. Go and buy like perfume, powder, and what, so that I will make something to help you. So I want to know that whether that is actually part of being a Muslim, or it's just some mushrik thing people are doing.
Oh, it depends. It depends. Are they charging people for it?
No, not as such.
If they are not charging people for it, they can be from God. It can be the work of God, because we see in the Quran, when somebody died and they wanted an information from the dead person, the people of Moses were asked to slaughter a cow so that they can use part of the cow to raise the dead. You understand? Okay. And then Joseph, he used his shirt to give to his brothers to throw on his father's face so that his eyes can be restored, right?
Okay.
And then we have several instances in the Quran where those type of things, spiritual things, have happened, but it doesn't necessitate that the person should ask you for money.
But sometimes they will ask you to go and buy fowls, slaughter a fowl, what.
Oh, there is nothing wrong when you look at it in the line of how Moses asked his people to slaughter a cow. Why did they need to slaughter the cow? They slaughtered the cow because they need to raise a dead body, somebody who was dead.
Okay, that means to bring forth a life must be taken.
Yes, so they slaughtered the cow. Okay, God can let it happen without a cow, right?
Yes,
And
that's
God,
what I wonder.
thank you. And God can even let the eyes of Jacob to open without Joseph need to throw his chest on the face. But God is showing you that in order for something to happen, something has to be done.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just logical, but I'm not condoning that you should include the genes and whatever to seek protection from genes, and they can put you in danger. But we see even Suleiman, when he needed the throne of the Queen of Sheba, he asked one of the genes to go and bring it, right?
I heard it.
Yes, but in this modern day, we have shuyuks who can use the gene to go and bring something also. Me, when I was growing up in my community, may God bear with witness. I have witnesses, but they are based in my country. I know if some of them are watch. There's a man I witnessed. He sat with us in front of him. He doesn't have anything with him. There is a shop far away from us. He told us to mention whatever we need from the shop. He will just bring it with a blink of an eye. And we witnessed him do that.
Okay.
Yes. You understand? We witness him. So we have these malams, especially in Africa and mentioned places, we call them malam buka. Some of them are using evil spirits. Beware of that. The things they are using, you need to investigate. Just like when you go to the pharmacy, you buy medicine. They write the medicinal information on the box so that you know the ingredients. Same way when you go to any spiritualist and he has to do anything, make sure he gives you the information of what he's using. Sometimes they mingle with the names of genes and other things, and it can cause you problems. But if somebody is using spiritual means to get you closer to God and heal you and do, there's nothing wrong.
Okay, but sometimes he may bring forth something like a document. You will not have any idea what is in the document.
You need to know. God says you should not pursue what you don't have knowledge.
Okay.
Yes, because you'll be a fool for somebody to be doing something and you have no idea. Yes. What if he's going to kill your family?
Okay.
Yeah, so you need to know.
That is true. Okay.
Yes, you need to know. Yeah, so thank you, brother Jacob, for your questions. Keep on watching. I appreciate that. Peace.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So we have brother Hussein on the line. Salam to you, brother. Peace to you.
Salam, Baba. Do you hear me?
Salam.
Salam. So you do hear me?
I can hear you. We can hear you sounding clear.
Baba, what color is my shirt? I love the color of your shirt.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Red. You're wearing red. Red, actually. I can see clearly. Let me check.
Okay.
I need glasses. I think so. Let me make sure I'm not getting confused. Yeah, I can see red. You're good. It's red.
Very handsome glasses. Very handsome.
Thank you.
So in the chat, they were talking about chapter 6, 101. And how do you reconcile that? Because it says, marvelous of the heavens and the earth, how could he have a son while he does not have a mate?
Yes.
And he created all things, and he is aware of all things.
Yes.
When you read this, it is God saying, how can he have a son while he doesn't have a mate? So how do you reconcile that with Mary having a kid and not having a mate? It would assume that God has put this rule in place or this law because of what is being said.
If you put it in a vice versa, trying to compare Mary to God, that is a blasphemous statement to say. Not to you, but whoever is saying. Because number one, Mary is not God.
So how can she achieve something that God is saying that he cannot
because
achieve?
With God, that's why the spirit told her, it's easy for God. He just has to say be, and it is.
I agree.
He has already answered that.
But that seems to me like it's not really reconciling.
Thank you. Human beings, we are limited, right? Correct. So we think anything within our limits is the way we perceive it. We don't want to think beyond our limits. So anything beyond our limit doesn't make sense. Let me give you why it doesn't make sense. If you go to Quran chapter 35, verse 1, God says he created the angels. Some has 2 wings, some have 3 wings, some have 4 wings. So now let's talk about the ones with the 3 wings. Can you imagine something you have not seen before? How it looks like?
No.
Thank you. So but if you look at it, if you try to imagine it, does it make sense?
No.
No.
I mean, if someone is describing a human that existed in the past, I can imagine, you know, they can say, oh, this character had brown hair, tall, 6 foot, you know, wore glasses, this and that. And you can paint an image, but
because you've seen the human before. Because
Correct.
you see another human before. But now let's take Adam, for example. God created Adam from dust, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then he blew the spirit, his spirit into Adam, and he became a soul. Yep. So Adam became a living being.
Yep.
Now, but can you imagine how that happened?
I mean, it's obvious. Well, in one sense, yes, you can imagine. You know.
Has it ever happened for you to see before?
No, of course not.
So how do you imagine something you don't see?
Well, it's imagery, isn't it? I mean, you know.
Okay, how do you imagine God blowing the spirit? You imagine it. How do you imagine God? You imagine God as a human being?
No, of course not. No.
So how do you imagine?
But I think what's people imagine is they imagine the blowing. People know what it is to blow.
But how do you imagine God blowing?
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
So there are certain things we cannot align ourselves with God. If God is making that comparison by saying, how can he has without a mate? Because according to the Christian, they say God begot. They use the word begotten.
Correct.
So that's why God is mentioning a mate. Because in order to beget, you need a mate to beget.
But okay, so you're bringing... See, when you just read the Quran, it doesn't mention nothing about... it does mention, you know, they make a claim and whatnot. But you know what I mean? I just feel like your whole... when I just read this verse, I'm struggling to reconcile it, and I think other people are struggling to reconcile it too.
Let me help you out. You see, the Quran is unique by using its own language. You see, let me take you to Quran 112. We are going to pay attention to the choice of words used by God so that this matter will be easy for you, right? Okay. Quran 112 says, say he, the God, is one, the everlasting God. He neither begets. Pay attention to the word, begets. You see the word yelid?
Yes.
Okay. What did the Christians say?
That God begets.
Thank you. They say he has a begotten son.
Correct.
And we are going to go to the dictionary to check the meaning of begets, right? Okay. He neither begets nor was he what? Begotten. Because they claim it's either God is born or God has given birth. It's 2 things. God has a son or Jesus himself is God. So he has been given birth or he gives birth by procreation. The meaning of begotten or to beget, when we said you beget, is an animal act to make children, to actually have copulation with a partner. So now let's go to the Quran chapter 18. So to make these matters easier for people to understand. In Quran chapter 18, verse 4, God says, he's using the Quran to warn those who say God has a son. Now check the word used there. It says walada. The word walada is an act of begetting. It means a son which has been copulated, which means it takes a man and a woman, 2 mates, to copulate to have that walad, a child. Are you getting the language there?
Yes.
So when God already answered in Surah Al-Ikhlas, chapter 112, he says, Lam yalid wa lam yulad, meaning God was not begotten. It does not beget, nor was he begotten. So the answer of God saying that how can he have a son when he doesn't have a mate is the word, just of word they use, the Christians use. That's why he's as a counter, statement to them. Because the moment you use the word walad, that means it has an action of begotten. You have to beget the person. You have to sexually copulate. So now tell me, how does God sexually copulate when he doesn't have a partner? How did he do that? Can you imagine God copulating?
No, of course not.
Thank you. So that is why I use the example of Adam. And I ask you, imagine God blowing. Have you ever seen God? How can you imagine God blowing spirit? How? Because you've never seen it. So now, how can you even imagine God, excuse me to say, I was believing in having sex with who?
Yeah, look, we're going down a path. I mean, I understand what you're saying. How can you imagine? I guess the reverse arguments can also be applied. How can you imagine, Mary having a baby without someone? Have you ever seen someone born without a... I understand, but have you ever seen, how can you imagine? You know what I mean? All these arguments...
Let's make it easy. That means those people arguing. Those people arguing.
All I'm saying is, like, I was watching your live stream, and you were saying God doesn't mention, a father. It doesn't, but the reverse arguments also apply to you. So I'm just trying to understand. You get what I'm saying, or maybe not.
Are you arguing on their behalf, or you are arguing for them?
I am. No, I'm not arguing on their behalf. Yeah, I mean, I only know Hamza Malik from what you put out. I never heard of this man before. I never heard of him before.
Let me tell you how confusing it is when people start to play with the words of God. Quran chapter 10, verse 82. This is what God says. God says, and God will enforce the truth with his words. Now pay attention to the words. Even if the criminals dislike it. Again, Quran chapter 7, verse 33. See what God says. Say, my Lord only forbids obscenity, what is apparent thereof, and what is hidden of sin and oppression without right, and to associate others with God, for which he has not sent down any authority, and to say what you do not know about God. Now, do you see how deadly this topic is?
Yes.
This issue we are talking about God, is it about God or not?
It is about God.
Yes. Because we are talking about God having a son. Right?
Correct.
And then those people are arguing that if we have that argument for God, why can't we have for Maryam? Are you comparing God to Maryam? That's the first instance. Are you going to compare God to Maryam? And if they are having issue with the word begotten, it is because of the begotten. God is saying, how can he have a son when he doesn't have a mate? Because the moment you use begotten, you need a mate to beget.
It's 6:101. Does that say begotten? Is that...
I'm just using the Quran to explain to you the claim of the Christians.
Yes, no. That was from Surah Al-Ahad. I understand that.
This is the verse you brought.
Oh no, that was some hard typing punches, Baba. Don't get angry.
Yeah. Don't worry. This is correctional officer. This is the way I go.
Yes. Okay.
You are not the one getting on my nerves.
Okay.
It is them, the hypocrites. It says, marvelous of the heavens and the earth. How could he have a son? Now check the word son. Do you see me underlining it?
Yes.
Do you see the Arabic word?
Yes. Walad.
Yes. In Arabic, in order to beget, you use the word yalid. Yalid. So the word yalid, that is the noun of that word, walad. So it is an act that you need a mate, a female mate to do that. God is speaking to wise people, not fools. So when you are listening to those foolish people, especially the mega hypocrites, I'm telling you for a fact, most of them don't even know Arabic. They never went to the madrasa to sit down and study Arabic. So when they take translations, this is how they'll be fooling people. And when correctional officer is talking, I'm not joking. I'm serious all out. I dare those people. When I get them one-on-one, this is where I will set them up as scapegoats because they are fooling people. The moment you say God has begotten a son, it's an insult to God. It means he has to actually copulate with a mate to do that. So that is why God is asking, while he does not have a mate, and he created all things, God is just a creator. He created everyone in this universe. And then you are saying he begot a son. So how did he do that? He came down to sleep with Mary?
Yeah, yeah. No, begotten. No. I was never arguing from that begotten point. Yeah.
No, their argument is that why can't we use that argument for Maryam, saying that she also, how can she have a son without a husband? For a human being, it's normal because God has to will for it to happen. He has to just decree. For a human, it can happen. Are you getting my point? Like, God can make a baby speak. God can make the mountains speak. Because they are his creation. He can decide to let it happen anyhow. Why is it difficult for human beings to understand? I don't understand.
Yeah, no, I get your point.
You see, this mobile phone has been programmed by the manufacturer that I'm the one who owns it, and I should be the only one to make a call, right? But do you know the network provider can make a phone call from my phone without me having the access to it? They can make a phone call themselves. But for some people, they were like, this is impossible. I own the phone. Why should somebody else be able to call from the phone? They will argue on that level. So when it comes to knowledge and wisdom, we are on different levels. Some people are still on the searching level. So when somebody is in the higher level and is speaking, the one on the low level doesn't understand. And the reason why I'm asking for dialogue is dialogue brings clarity. That is why I make myself available. I dare any hypocrites out there. They should come out for a dialogue one-on-one. I'll question them every single word they mention. And I'll prove to the people how foolish these people are. Every single word they mention. Let them bring any topic. Salat, zakat, Jesus, having a fad, anything. I dare anybody. Let's go one-on-one. Brother Hussein, bring your next question. Let's move on.
Okay. I have heard you in the past use the comparison of Adam and Jesus, and then but the verse doesn't. And then you said, because you brought up that verse, and then you said the comparison of Adam and Jesus, but you didn't finish it. I mean, the last bit of it talks about they were both created from dust, and they said be, and it was. I don't understand how you use that for both miraculous creations.
I repeated several times. I said the miraculous part was just be, and they became. That's the miraculous part. Meaning, for God to make something possibility, he just need to say be, and it will happen. That's the part I mentioned. But in the beginning, if you listen carefully, and I said the example with God, not with us, with God. So to God, it's something different. To us, it's also something different. So then I gave the example that a day with God is 1,000 years to us. Are you getting the logic there?
Yes.
So the way we will see it will be different from the way God sees it. But we have to listen to God's perspective. When you are reading the Quran, it's not about your perspective. It's about whose perspective? God. Are you getting the logic? So if we are reading the Quran and then we are going to be sticking to our perspective, then there's a problem.
I get what you're saying. See, I've had this conversation with people that have all different perspectives, so I'm just trying to reconcile what you're saying. I get it.
You see, brother Hussein, in order to arrive to the truth, when people have different perspectives, just ask all of them, whose perspective is this? If they say my perspective, it becomes an opinion. Just ask any of them, which one is the perspective of God?
Yeah. So, yeah. Oh, okay. All right. That's fair.
I'm just helping you on how to arrive to the truth. When people say this is my understanding, my opinion, my point of view, my this, my research, my that, just ask any of them. Which one is the perspective of God? That is how to arrive to the truth.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, look, you know, the brother earlier, he brought up, you know, I've heard that even evolution is in the Quran, you know, and you know, when it talks about insan was created from, and I think you had it translated as clay, and then, you know, the sperm into the womb. So like when you said evolution is from animals, that's not what like modern day evolution is. Okay. You know, so there's an argument in the Quran for like evolution, and I understand like when people. So I've listened to some people and they explain it like they're not extrapolating from outside of the Quran, you know. So they'll use that verse, you know, that the insan is we created the human beings from an extraction of clay, then we rendered him a sperm deeply rooted in a base. So you know, they're talking about you know, a lot of tafsir, they say that this insan is referring to Adam, you know, and then the next verse it says it was a sperm deeply rooted in the base, and they, you know, they say, is that a sperm in a womb or whatnot, you know, but then they go, well, if it's referring to Adam, you get, you know, so there's all these, like, they're not perspectives. I mean, it's readings from the Quran matching up to what people are talking about today scientifically.
It includes perspective, because when you mention insan, you say some scholars argue that it's talking about Adam.
Correct.
But Bashar has been mentioned also. So which is which? So let me confuse you right now. I'm going to confuse you right now. Quran chapter 15 verse 26. Let me confuse you. Now, in Quran chapter 15 verse 26, God says, we suddenly created the insan. Now, don't look at the word human being. Look at it as insan, right? From the agile of an aged mad. Then, as for the jinn, we created him earlier from the hot flame of fire. Now, the verse 28. And when your Lord said to the angels, indeed, I will create a bashar. The first one said insan. The second one says bashar. So which one is Adam?
I don't know. I wouldn't know. So
now, what you just said earlier concerning the scholars is a perspective. We don't call it the truth.
Correct.
So that is their perspective. And when I was talking about evolution, you said the modern point of view. You didn't ask me for clarity whether I was speaking from the old point of view, modern, or whatever. You just said evolution. When scientists tell you evolution, they are telling you the evolvement of species, changing from stages to stages, coming forward. And they place the emphasis, saying that we human beings evolved. So now the question is, where did we evolve from? Because they don't believe in the creation of God. So the question still stands. Where do we evolve from? Where?
So obviously there's a, you know, let me try and get the camera. You know, they put it as like a timeline from, you know, single cell organisms to hominids, you know. So you had the different hominins, you know, you had Homo sapiens, you had Neanderthals, you had Denisovans, however far back that was, you know, and then they say there was this change in brain size, and that was the modern human. Okay, so, and that's all done through like DNA. They don't actually talk about it being species to species. So no one would actually say chimpanzee to walking upright to, you know, throwing things to that. That's not actually a thing. And then, you know, in the Quran it says, you know, they grew us from, you know, the earth. You know, a couple of verses earlier it just said from the aged mud, and like they reckon it was radioactive mud that was where the first single cell organisms were being, you know what I mean? And the water and radioactive mud. So I'm just putting these things out there saying that, yeah.
Yeah, but the point is, these verses I gave you, chapter 15, verse 26, mention insan, and 15, verse 28, mention bashar, but they are both created from the aged mud.
Correct.
But one is bashar and one is insan. So which one is Adam?
I don't know. I can't tell you.
Now, let me give you the clue. Make a research in Arabic language for the word bashar. It will trace you back to hominidae. When you trace the word insan in Arabic language, go to the classical version, it will trace you back to Homo sapien.
Yes, I agree with that. Yes. Yeah.
So the first one mentioned is Homo sapien. The second one mentioned is hominidae. Now, they are not the same in terms of structure and intelligence and quality. You can make a research on that.
No, yeah.
And it gets to a time, I think I spoke about this one time on Clubhouse, right? I spoke about it one time on Clubhouse, but I just need the full certainty on this topic too, in order to speak about it directly in the public. Because some topics can be confusing, can confuse a lot of people. So in order to bring it out, you have to be convinced 100% before you bring it out. But this is where it stops. If you have another question, just ask me before I bring in the next caller.
No, thank you, Baba. And I think anyone that has any issues should phone up and have a chat, and sort it out. It's
Simple.
ridiculous. It's simple. Very simple. Come with your notes, come with your evidences, and have a discussion. Yeah. Peace out.
Thank you, Hussein. Thank you for your time. Stay tuned. Right. Peace. Salam. Yeah. So somebody tried calling me. Let me see. Somebody tried calling me. Let me see if I remember the caller. It says, what number is this? Mahmoud Dauda. Okay, let me pick up this call. After this, I called back the next caller.
Assalamu alaikum, Baba Shuaib.
Wa alaikum salam. My brother Mahmoud, right? Can you hear me?
Yes, Baba Shuaib.
Brother Mahmoud, can you mute the video you are watching? You are watching my video somewhere, so mute the volume.
It's already paused already.
Okay, thank you. Now go ahead. I can hear you now.
I want you to clarify something for me, because there are some trendy issue now in Nigeria about the thing that they are saying wakaf in Islam. Is there anything wakaf in the Quran? That is to say, when it's not like this thing, wasiya. Because, for example, when you are alive, you can be able to devote either a school or maybe a masjid or Islamia to the public. Is this the same thing with charity or something? I need clarification. But they call it wakaf. Is there anything wakaf in the Quran? That's my question.
Okay. Yeah. Just a second. So they are saying that if the person, if I heard you clearly, if the person before he dies or he's dying and he gives that thing over, and then that thing will do what for him? Will save him in front of God, or what?
This is according to when he was in the grave, or after that he will receive a reward.
Okay, they are talking about this. For instance, for example, they will say sadaqatul jariyah, or they will say this.
But this one they can't. Is at wakafi.
Yes, this wakaf they are talking about. These are all things they took from the hadith concept. It's not. It's not a concept coming from the Quran. Nowhere in the Quran does it say after you die, then blessings are still following you. It doesn't say that anywhere. Quran never ever states anywhere in the Quran that after you die, blessings are still following. No.
But they associated this wakaf with Surah Al-Imran, I think verse 92. Please, can you clarify for me?
Let's check. 92 is talking about people who are alive. But let's check. Quran chapter 3 verse 92 is about people who are alive. But I'm putting the verse on the screen. This is what it says. لن تنالوا البر حتى تنفقوا مما تحبون. So he says, you will never, God used the word never, You will never
Yeah.
attain righteousness until you spend. That is, you disperse, you give in sadaqah, charity,
Okay.
from what you love. And whatever you disperse of anything,
Okay.
then indeed God is aware of it.
Okay.
So it's talking about people who are alive. It's not talking about people who are dead.
Okay. When you are alive, maybe you should make charity.
Yes. You have to spend. You have to help people. You have to help people in need. We help each other.
Okay.
That is what
That's
life
why
is
the Bible
about.
is talking.
Yes.
What is not got these verses? Please speak to this work of the negative area.
Yeah,
That's why I was so confused.
yes, those
And
concepts.
in the Quran, I didn't see anything like work up in the Quran. That's why I posed my question to you.
Yeah, it's not a Quranic concept. It is
Thank
coming
you.
from
Thank
their
you very much.
hadiths. Yes, it's coming from their hadiths. They
Mm.
twist the narrative all the time.
But is there any activity that you are going to do after you dead? After you done, you are going to be receiving what in hereafter?
When you are dead,
Your-
your book is closed. Brother Mahmoud, when somebody goes to write exams, after the time is up, can you add anything?
Yeah. Okay. So whatever you are going to do in terms of goodness, do it when you are alive.
Thank you. Like that.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mahmoud, peace. Stay
Yeah.
tuned. Keep watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Peace.
Peace. Okay, Brother Sami, let me call you back. You called, let me see. Sami. Yeah, salam.
Peace. My question has to do with
Peace, brother. What is your name?
Sammy.
Sammy,
From Canada.
calling from Canada. Nice to meet you. May I hear you now?
Yes, I was having a discussion recently with someone sharing about the just Quran only, and one response I got back was, "Let me just see it because I'm hearing echo on my end. Let me see what I can do here."
Okay. Is it on speaker out?
Okay. The response I got back was, if we dismiss the scholars and their interpretations, it just falls back on us to make the interpretations. And I wasn't too sure how to respond to
that. Can you bring clarity to your question a bit?
Sure.
I think
I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
For example, when it comes to fasting, there may be things today that were invented or discovered that weren't around back then. Now, scholars from today would say this is haram and this isn't. So they're making an interpretation. But we don't rely on their interpretations necessarily, right?
Yeah.
So just fall on the individual to interpret how it would apply. Or, for example, I don't know if smoking was around back then, but nowadays for fasting, you would say smoking is forbidden, right?
If you're smoking, you're consuming something.
Okay.
It's part of consumption. You are supposed to abstain from consumption. Consuming anything that goes inside.
Now, does that include, like, because some people might have things that they consume for their medical well-being, or that it goes through the skin.
Yeah.
Usually it falls upon the scholars to figure that out.
Yeah, but if it's consumption, anything that you have to put in the mouth, that goes to that side. Because even if it's smoking, it's through the mouth, right?
Right.
Yeah, you're consuming something. So if you're consuming something, if you are sick, God is not forcing people who are sick to fast.
Okay. So going back to the subject of interpretations, can you just share some thoughts on that?
Yes, thank you. Quran chapter 42 verse 21, God says, do they have associates, that is idols, who legislate for them of a religion to which God has not authorized? If you have the religion and people are giving legislations and then we cannot find it in the book of God or authorized by God, that is where you cast those things out. But when it comes to interpretation, this is how it works. Quran chapter 10, verse 39. In Quran chapter 10, verse 39, this is what God says. Let me put it on the screen so people can see it. Quran chapter 10, verse 39, God says, in fact, they have denied what they have not encompassed its knowledge, and whose interpretation has not yet come to them. Likewise did those before them deny. So observe how was the end of the transgressors. Now, pay attention closely to this verse. It says, in fact, they have denied what they have not encompassed its knowledge. Number one, you need to encompass the knowledge of something in order to grasp the interpretation. When somebody is speaking about a subject, make sure they understand or they know what they are talking about before they can interpret something for you. So, let's say I come to Canada. I don't understand English, right? And I'm speaking my native language, maybe Hausa language or so. Then I come to Canada, but the immigration wants to translate my statements so that they can make sense of it. Then when I arrive to Canada, the best thing Canada has to do is to find somebody who understands Hausa language. Or who knows Hausa language, so that the person can interact with me in order to translate or interpret what I say to them. Because sometimes it's not about translation, because sometimes if you have to translate things literally, there's no sense. It's nonsensical. So sometimes you need interpretation when you're translating. So now, when I come to Canada and I don't speak English, you will need somebody who knows Hausa language in order to interpret what I'm saying, so that the authorities will understand what I'm saying. Now, are you going to just go and find any layman to come and listen to me speaking Hausa, or you are going to find somebody who possesses knowledge in my language?
Yeah, who possesses knowledge.
Thank you. So now, in order to know somebody possesses knowledge about a subject or about a topic, about anything, you need to access them. You need to know the source of their knowledge. Anybody who cannot tell you the source of where their information is coming is doubtful. Yes. Because let me give you an example. This interpreter, after interpreting what this Hausa person said, do you know what the authorities normally do? They will read it back to the interpreter, and then they will tell the interpreter, translate it back to the person to listen to what he said. Is it what he said? So now, when the interpreter is now taking what the authorities are saying, and then the listener is listening, he will say, no, I didn't say this. That's not what I meant. Change it. Say it, I meant this. So now the authorities will know the interpreter might not be doing his job well. So you don't need to be actually highly knowledgeable to access another knowledgeable person. All you need is you need the source of information where the knowledgeable person is speaking from. That's all you need. So right now, when we are dealing with the Quran, then you have, out of nowhere, you have somebody like Hamza Malik. Then he tells you, oh, this word doesn't mean this. All you need to ask him is, give me the source of information where you are getting this meaning from. Let me go and verify it myself. That's all. That's how you get to grasp if a person is lying. For example, when people say the salat means following closely, they say it means connection. They say it means I was able to expose them for everybody to see. It doesn't mean that. So if they say it means this, let's sit down, let them bring the information, let's verify and see. That's how you catch thieves, liars, criminals. So even same thing, when scholars are doing the same thing, this is how to scrutinize them. So when you watch Baba Shuaib, when I talk about things, I give the reference, I give the evidence, I bring it to the board. Everybody sees what I'm talking about. Because Islam doesn't belong to me. The Quran doesn't belong to me. It belongs to God. So when I'm telling people, I need to erase the benefit of the doubt here, so that people will now follow what they know, not blindly follow. Blindly following means you don't have knowledge. The moment you have knowledge of something, you can now have the interpretation of it. If you don't have knowledge of something, that's where you are going to play with the interpretation. So God says, in fact, They have denied what they have not encompassed its knowledge. Because the first thing you need to do is to encompass the knowledge of a subject before you can interpret. So now, to bring this to a close, chapter 7, verse 53, this is what God says. If I start from verse 52, God says this: and we have certainly brought them a book which we have detailed upon knowledge or by knowledge. Do you see how the book works with knowledge? Because every word in the Quran can be verified based on knowledge. So if right now somebody is playing with a word, all we need to do is we ask him, where did you get this meaning from? How are you saying it means this and it cannot mean this? Why are you saying it doesn't mean prayer, but it can mean following closely? Why can't it mean prayer? Then they will say, oh, the Arabs twisted. Okay, show us the evidence where Arab twisted the meaning. Okay, when they twisted the meaning, what meaning was it before they twisted it? This is how you investigate. You question people. And then they stop lying. So now the verse says, and we suddenly brought them a book which we have detailed upon knowledge or by knowledge as guidance and mercy for people who believe. Then verse 53, are they waiting only its interpretation? Now, does this verse align with chapter 10 verse 39? Do you remember the verse I just read before?
Sorry, I don't.
I just mentioned Quran chapter 10 verse 39. God talks about knowledge and interpretation.
Right.
It talks about two things, right?
Yeah.
Now I just read chapter 7 verse 52 to 53. The first verse talks about knowledge and the second verse talks about interpretation. In order to have interpretation, you need to have knowledge. Somebody who doesn't have knowledge will only be playing with words because they don't have knowledge. So what they will do is to play with words. When you are also knowledgeable, you can now catch the liar because you know he's playing with words because the word doesn't mean what he's saying. So if it means, let's go and verify. Are you getting the point?
Right.
So now, are they waiting only its interpretation? Are they going to wait? You are waiting for the interpretation. You not find knowledge to go and seek for yourself and investigate. Okay, this guy says salat means connection. I want to investigate. Where does salat means connection? You check throughout every dictionary in the history. You don't find connection there. So how did it become connection? Hey, somebody's playing with people. Salat means duty. Where does it mean duty? Let's go investigate throughout the historical etymology of the word. It doesn't mean duty. So who is putting duty there? Then you know something fishy is going on. That is exactly what scholars are doing because nobody questions them. Nobody investigates. So God said, the day its interpretation comes, those who forgot it before will say, the messengers of our Lord had brought the truth. So then on that day they will say, so do we have any intercessors to intercede for us? Or could we return to do other than what we used to do? They will have lost their souls, and what they used to fabricate diverted from them. You see, so to bring these points to a summary, I take you to Quran chapter 3 verse 78. Now pay attention to this verse carefully. God says, indeed, among them is a group who distort the book with their tongues to make you consider it from the book, while it is not from the book. And they say it is from God, while it is not from God. And they say a lie about God, while they know. So you, the one they are telling a lie, if you don't investigate, how can you know they are lying?
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
It does. It does. Yes.
Thank you.
On a related note, I wanted to ask you quickly.
Yeah.
These people who are taking the word salah and telling us it means other things, do you think, I'm just trying to figure out the intention behind this. Is it malicious? Is it intended to co-opt? Or is it just genuinely they honestly believe this?
Kindly repeat what you just said.
So these people who tell us that the word salam means duty or connection or following closely, are they, it's hard to say for sure, but is their intention malicious or is it they genuinely just don't know?
I'm telling you emphatically, 100% their intention is malicious. Look, when somebody is not intentionally doing something, the person will come out boldly and have a discussion. None of the following closely, guys, is willing to have a civilized discussion publicly to be assessed. None of them. I'm telling you. None of the duty people can have a civilized discussion. None of the following closely connection people can have a civilized discussion because I will set them up because they are malicious. They are liars. Whatever they are saying doesn't mean because they hate the concept of prayer. So now they want to eradicate that word out of the syllable, out of the etymology. So now it's like, okay, let's choose what we want. Let's make it mean duty. Okay, let's say it means connection. Okay, now come and define your connection for us. Let's have a seat. Come, explain to us how their connection work or your school session works. Because now they are creating a new section of religion. Yes, it's a doctrine. They create a new doctrine. They will tell you, oh, we don't believe in religion, but it's a cult.
Okay.
When people hate the truth, that's what they do. So when Baba Shuaib says, come, let's have a dialogue. Come, let's have a seat. They will never come. They are scared. I don't know why.
Still waiting for that day. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brother Sami. Thank you for calling in. Stay tuned. Thank you. Peace. Yeah. Murad says I'm gaslighting. No, I'm not gas. I'm firelighting, not gaslighting. Yes, your name and where you're calling from.
Hello?
Yes, hello. Can you hear me? Hello? Yes, the lone wolf, because I'll expose their lies, so they will never step forward. No. Salam, my brother.
Salam alaikum, Baba.
Wa alaikum salam, brother. Hola.
God bless you with this good job you are doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
But I want to ask something.
Yes.
Don't you think these people, I don't want to say they are doing it ignorantly, what they are just following the information that they go from their project or something, from their leaders.
From their leaders.
And they didn't verify.
Yeah.
But you are coming with evidence. People could see this, and you're showing us, look at this, and we can see the evidence. But you see some of them ignorantly, they want to come and fight you.
Yeah.
Because of the information they got firsthand.
Yes.
Look at, for instance, with the prayers.
Yeah.
With the 5 salat or the Hajj or something.
Yeah.
When you're against them, they say, oh no, this is what our forefathers have told us.
Exactly.
Do you want to blame them? Do you think we should blame them or that we should try it? I know you're doing a good job by saying, look, let's verify, let's look at this thing very well. But they are not willing to do that.
Let me tell you why they are not willing to do that. And let's ask God if we can blame them or not. God is going to tell us whether we can blame them. Okay. If God says we should not blame them, we are not going to blame them. So God says in Quran chapter 2 verse 170, he says, and when they are told, follow what God has revealed, meaning what God has sent down. Don't follow somebody's opinion. Listen carefully what God says. When they are told, follow what God has revealed, not what somebody is saying. What God has revealed. Is that what God revealed? Yes, God revealed that, I believe. They say, rather, we follow what we found our fathers upon.
Okay.
So it's not about what God revealed now. They are not interested. It's what they found their fathers upon. Now, God is asking a question. What if their fathers did not understand anything, nor were they guided? The question is, what if? Now, whenever a question arises and you see what if, it's a matter of contemplation. It's a matter of reflection. It's a matter of pondering. It's a matter of questioning one's self. So what if?
Hello.
What
Okay.
if their fathers did not understand?
Okay.
Now, what if they were not guided? So when you ask any layman who follows the scholars this question, they get angry.
Exactly.
Then they tell you, my scholar cannot mislead me. But have you verified? You never verify to see if he's lying. If your president can lie, if your politicians can lie, if your doctor can lie to you, if your parents can lie to you, who else cannot lie to you?
Wow. Look at what they have forced on us on like Hassan and the Kalmat Shahada. The Kalmat Shahada, they will just input Muhammad to just fall, and you keep telling them, you keep informing them, you keep showing the Kalmat that is in the Quran. But the world has been led, especially Islamic world, has been led astray, and nobody wants to listen, nobody wants to adjust, and it is worldwide. Don't you think it's a very big task to bring to factory reset everybody?
Factory reset is a difficult job. Factory reset, you know, sometimes when you try to factory reset a phone, it doesn't do. Sometimes you try to factory reset a computer, it doesn't work. So what you just need to do is you need to format it. You need to install new Windows. You have to, it's kaput, it's damaged. So factory resetting only works for people who are willing to be factory resetted. You see, so Quran chapter 27 verse 81. Let me put a verse on the screen. This is what God says. He says this. He says, you cannot guide the blind from their error. Only those who believe in our verses will hear, and they are Muslims. Yes, MFG. Some became broke. Yes, it does it. So, factory resetting, that's what God is saying. You cannot guide the blind from their error. Okay, you imagine somebody is blind, right? He cannot see by the eye. This verse is not literal. It's talking about non-literal aspect of blindness, meaning somebody is blind in the head. If somebody, let's take it literally, somebody is blind in the eyes, and then he took a pen, and then he wrote blue, and then you told him, no, what you wrote is not blue, it's red. Now tell me, how does he open the eyes to see that it is not blue he wrote? How can he be convinced? He cannot be convinced. He's not willing to listen to you. You see,
he doesn't want to open his eye.
And no, he doesn't want to open the eye. He's blind. So you cannot factory reset such a person. So it is only those who believe in the verses of God, because they are listening to God. They want to listen to what God has to say. Not nobody. They don't care. Baba Shuaib, I'm wearing this necklace for a reason. I wear it because when the mushrik see it, they get more angry. Yes. Then I ask them simple questions. In public, sometimes I wear necklace. Sometimes I'll just ask a sheikh. He will see me say, yo, sheikh, salam, salam. Then after we greet, then he says, why are you wearing this? I thought you are a man, you follow God. And I'm like, okay, where does it say it is haram in the Quran? He says, okay, akhi, it doesn't say in the Quran, but the sunnah, the hadith. I say, oh my God. And I tell him, if it's not from God, I don't need it. If you want to do it, go and do it. If it's from God, I need it. That's it.
Don't let me take much of your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Brother Ola. Thanks for calling. I appreciate your time. Salam to you. Peace. So I can pick up my last caller before I go to TikTok. I think Brother Adam, when you try calling, your line was not good. So let me call you back. Adam.
Hello?
Yes, hello, bro. You tried calling, your line was bad. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. I guess there was something wrong with the line. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, brother. Alhamdulillah. How about you?
I'm doing well. I'm glad to be speaking to you.
I appreciate that. Yes. I think sometimes you do send me messages. I just sometimes don't don't get enough time to respond on time.
That's okay. I know you're busy.
Yes. So yes, what is your input? How may I help you?
Okay, I want to ask the question I asked you on WhatsApp about in a situation where it seems like the portions given in the verses will equal more than 100%. What do we do in that case? That's basically what the question is.
First of all, the calculation is not based on 100% in the first place.
Okay.
That is in the first place. If you make it based on 100% apportionment, so I'm going to put the verses on the screen, then we're going to understand the apportionment.
Okay.
Because it is based on condition. If you understand the way, the condition in which God has actually assigned the apportionment, then it will finally make sense. But when you put it and you make it over 100%, that becomes a problem. So let's start. Now watch the screen as I break this issue down.
All right.
Yes. Now, Quran chapter 4, verse 11. Quran chapter 4, verse 11, it says, God advises you regarding your children. So the subject matter is about your children.
All right.
This subject matter is about your children. For the male is like the share of two females. So concerning your children, listen to the subject. Concerning your children. This has nothing to do with anybody else.
Okay.
So if we are talking about the children, then you can make the percentage 100%. Are you getting the equation here? The person who was showing you the contradiction, because he doesn't have the insight or the in-depth knowledge of the Quran on its own, he just looked at the Quran, the verse at the face value. So then he put the children, he put the uncle, he put the brother, he put the father, he put the mother, and he's looking for 100%. How can you get 100% doing that apportionment? So now the subject says, let me finish first. God advises you regarding your children. For the male is like the share of the two females. So let's say you have children, and then you have a male child. God is telling you what you need to give the male child. He has to get a share of two females. But if there are women beyond the two females, so meaning more females, more women beyond the two females, then for them is 1/3 of what is bequeathed. And if there is one female, then for her is half. So if that one female gets half, that means the rest of the apportionment will now go to the family.
Okay.
Are you getting the logic? If there is a male, he is going to get the share of that two female. So if two female, one female is going to get half. Listen carefully. Two females, if there's only two females, they are going to share in between half, right?
Okay.
But if there's only one male, what happens to the one male? He gets the share of two females.
Yeah.
So if the two females, one female is getting half, one female is getting half, and then there is only a male child, that means the male child is going to get the share of the two females.
Yeah.
In this apportionment, if you are looking at it in the perspective of children, you are going to get 100% when you understand it that way. But when that person was talking, he was already including uncle, he was already including a father, mother, brother, sister, and he says it's more than 100%. That is contradictory on its own when he tried to do that.
All right. Okay. So the question here is which family member gets the priority then? The children or
the main focus is the children first. Yeah. That's the main focus because it is the parent who has to leave a will for the children.
The children has to get it first.
They are the main focus. Always.
And then we give to the parents.
Because it is the parent who have to die to leave children now.
Okay, so after we're done with the children, we give to the parents.
Yes, then no. I said it is the parents who die to leave. It's either a father dies and leave a child. It's either a mother dies and leave her child to the father, right? So now, you, in terms of apportionment, start with the children first, because that is the most important first.
Okay.
Yes. Many families, what they do is when it comes to apportionment, they start dealing with the uncle, the relatives, even before the children. That's a mistake.
Yeah.
Apportionment should start with the children. That's inheritance, will, legal will, has to start with the children.
Okay. And
so now, let's finish the verse. And if there is one female, then for her is half. Then that means if there's only one female as a child, she's going to get half. Then the rest of the half goes to the other parent to divide. Are you getting the point? But now, if this one female is getting half, for one's two parents, so if these two parents are available,
okay,
to each one of them is 1/6 of what is bequeathed.
Okay.
You see? So the two parents, if they are alive, and maybe the person died, leaving his parents, and there's these two parents, because they are still extended family as well. So they get 1/6 of what is bequeathed. If he has a child.
Okay.
But if he does not have a child and his two parents inherit him, so when a person dies and his two parents are the ones going to inherit him, then 1/3 for his mother. So meaning when you give 1/3, when you divide it into 3 and you give one portion of the 1/3 to the mother, that means the other 2/3 left is going to be divided among the family members.
Okay. Yeah.
But it doesn't mean you have to gather everybody at once and say, because not every family will happen to have the brother, the uncle, everybody available. Some families, you can only have the parents available. There is no uncle. There is no aunt anywhere. Some families, you only have the child and his mother only available. Nobody else.
Yes.
Yes. So in order for somebody to just go ahead and say, let's divide this over 100%, he is going to contradict what the verse is saying because he doesn't understand the apportionment. Then God says, but if he has brothers, then 1/6 for his mother, after a legal will has been prescribed or debt. Because before every apportionment will be shared, they have to make sure they check the will and check the debt if the person has a debt. Because sometimes people leave debt behind.
Yeah.
It is after the debt, after checking the legal will and the debt, after that is done, that is when you have to start sharing the apportionment. Then it says, your parents and your children, you do not know which of them is nearest to you in benefit, because it's vice versa. It's either the children will die leaving the parents, or parents die leaving the children.
Yeah.
Now, follow-up question.
Yeah. So after that, the wife and the wives or the husband, what do they get after that?
The wives and the husbands, that is why we are talking about the mother and father, the two parents. They are the wives and the husband. Because in the first verse, I'm talking about the children. If we are talking about the children, then when you are going to talk about the wife and husband, that is the mother and father. You see, let's not confuse the narrative. It's talking about the children first. If the children are the subjects, the wife and the husband become the parents.
Okay.
Now let's go to the next verse. Now he's going to talk about the husband and wife. And for you is half of what your spouses bequeath if they had no children.
Yeah.
So your spouse, she dies, or you die leaving your spouse, or she dies leaving you, and you don't have children, you take half. So when you take half of what your spouse leave, it means the other half will go to the family.
Yeah.
Are you getting the point here?
Yeah.
The first verse is talking about children. That's the subject. So let it stay on the children. The second verse is now talking about you, the parents who are married, who happen to have children. So you are the spouses, a wife and a husband. God is showing you how it should be shared. So if you have a spouse and then she dies or you die and there's a property, you get half if you don't have children. But if they had no children, but if they have a child, then for you is 1/4 of what they bequeath.
Okay.
After a legal will has been prescribed or debt. And for them is 1/4 of what you bequeath if you had no children. So here goes with the wife and the husband. God is showing the wife what she will get, and he's showing the husband what he will get if there are no children.
Okay. And then after that, the siblings.
Yes, then the rest of the apportionment, that is why God is showing the percentage which needs to be given to a particular person. If it's given, the rest of the apportionment will now be divided as 100% among the other siblings or relatives.
Yeah.
That's how the apportionment works. So it is not like 100% by including already everybody at once. No, you start with the main subject first, those who are mentioned as the main target. After you take their share for them first, then now you are going to recount the ones left as 100% for the rest of the people it is going to share for.
Okay, I mentioned in my in the voice note I sent to you on WhatsApp that I noticed this pattern in the verses. Chapter 4, verse 11, you'll notice it talks about the children and then the parents, and then it says after will and debts.
Yeah.
And then 4:12, it talks about the husbands, and then will and debts, and then the wives, and then will and debts. And
Yeah, that is yes, that is after the will and debt. Yeah. Yes, because the main will is the subject. The subject is mentioning the children. They are the main subject in the will first. So after the legal will and debts, then you start dealing with the other party. Yes.
Okay. So does that mean that the one that says like if it has will and debts right after, does that take priority over the others?
Yes, it takes priority over the others.
Okay, so could it be possible that we give the wife first and then we give to the children later, or it can't be done this way?
No, it depends, because when you read in that same chapter 4, verse 6, for instance, let me give you a verse. God says in chapter 4, verse 6, he says, and test the orphans until when they reach marriage. Then if you perceive maturity from them, then deliver their properties to them. But do not consume them excessively and quickly, lest they grow up. So now if the person is grown up, it has to be decided for the person already, if the child is grown up already.
Okay.
It is not for the wife to say, oh, let me keep it for the child. No. If it's grown already, hand it over.
Okay.
Because they are the main subject. The kids are the main subject first. So hand it over. If the kid is already grown, matured, hand over the property.
Yeah. Okay. So what I wanted to ask is about when it talks about the shares of the wives or the husbands, it seems to be conditional upon them having children.
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. It doesn't say conditionally they have to have children. It says if they have no children.
Exactly.
Yes, I just read, because God gives you both options, not just one option. So verse 12. Let me read it again.
What I'm trying to say is, it seems like the inheritance of the wife, for example, it will ask you first if they have children or if they don't have children.
Yes, if they don't have children, yes.
If they have children and if they don't have children.
Yes, because it interferes.
It's not conditional upon anything. The children get irrespective of whether there are parents or wives or anything.
Because the children are the main subject.
Yeah.
Yes. That's the main reason behind the legal will. Children are the main focus behind the legal will.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does that mean that we should give the wives first?
That is if there's no children?
Yeah.
Yeah, if there's no children, wife starts first. If you die leaving your wife goes first.
And if there is children?
If there is children, the children goes first.
Okay, so the children are there, we give the children first.
Yes. So check the way God arranged the verse. He started with the verse of the children first, verse 11.
Okay.
Before coming to the spouse.
Yeah. Okay.
You get the point? Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, there are other follow-up questions, but I think I've taken a lot of your time, so.
No, I'm not complaining.
Yeah, you're not complaining.
I'm not complaining. You can ask me one more question, then we go. A lot of people are benefiting. It's not only about you. If I say it's enough, then it's enough. But if I give you a chance, you can ask.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I've seen some Quran alone websites. They mention also the shares of the grandparents and also grandchildren, but there's nothing in the verse that talks about that. Can you shed some light on this?
Yes, after the legal will and the debt has been prescribed, which means the one which is going to be left aside after the apportionment, you have to make it 100% again. Then you start dividing it for the extended members. Yes, but usually you deal with the nuclear family first. That's the main focus. Nuclear family first, before you start extending to the other party. So let me show you a verse in Quran chapter 4, verse 176, the last verse of the chapter.
Yeah.
God says they seek your legal opinion.
Yeah.
Right? They seek your legal opinion concerning when we say kalala, right? Somebody who dies, that is, say, God opines you regarding one with no parents and no children. So meaning somebody has died. He doesn't have children and he doesn't have parents. It's kalala. This kalala, somebody who doesn't have two parents and he doesn't have children, but he has brothers, he has sisters, he has, you understand?
Yeah.
So now it's going to the extended side.
Exactly.
Now, so he says, if a man perishes having no child, you see how God always starts with a child.
Yeah.
If a man perishes having no child, but has a sister, then for her is half of what he left.
Yeah.
And he will inherit her if she did not have a child.
Yeah.
But if there are two females, then for them both are 2/3. Now, the reason why God is mentioning this apportionment for, let's say, for one person, and he say, okay, the lady will get half, it means the rest of the half which will be left behind will now be divided for the other relatives.
Yeah.
That's how it works. So meaning she will take the lion's share, then the other half of the property now goes to be distributed to the other families. That's how it works.
And this is only in the event that it's a kalala, meaning there are no parents and children.
Yes.
Yeah.
You see?
But if there's a spouse, then it's still a
it starts
kalala.
with, it starts with the spouse and the child and the spouse first, if there's a spouse. It starts with the child and the spouse. But if there is no spouse, if there is no children, it starts with the spouse. Then it's extended to the sister.
Okay.
So the spouse will take her share. Then now the rest will jump to the sister. Sister take her share. Then now, but anytime somebody takes, the rest of the share is counted as 100% going forward again.
Yeah.
You see? So it's not just like 100% for everybody at once. Then this one will take his, this one will take his, this one is taken. That's why when God mentioned a relative, then you say this one will take 1/4. Then he mentioned another relative, he said this one will take 1/3. He mentioned another relative, then he will say this one will take half. If you are going to be joining the half, the 1/3, and 1/4, you are going to confuse the mathematics there.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's exactly what the atheists and agnostic and so on does. They do when they are approaching the Quran, because they don't have the insight dealing with the Quran. So similarly, I've seen atheists dealing with Quran chapter 41, verse 8, when they say God created the heavens and the earth. Is it verse 9? Sorry, verse 9. I'm going to read a verse. Now, this is a particular verse. Usually, atheists and pagans normally twist. Chapter 41, verse 9. Say, do you indeed disbelieve in the one who created the earth in 2 days by assigning counterparts to him? That is the Lord of the worlds. Verse 10. He placed therein anchors above it and blessed therein, estimated its nourishment therein within 4 days. It is the same for the questioners. Now, the questioners will say, oh, God mentioned 2 days above, and now he mentioned 4 days. So that is 6 days. That's how they count. Then they will go to the next one. Then he set up to the heaven while it was smoke, and said to it and to the earth, come willingly or unwillingly. They said, we come willingly. Consequently, he completed them as 7 heavens in 2 days. Now, in the above verse 9, he mentioned 2 days, right? The next verse, he mentioned 4 days, right? Now, in verse 12, he mentioned 2 days. Now, this is how an atheist or a pagan will count. He will say 2 plus 4 plus 2 is 8.
Yeah.
That's somebody without insight.
Exactly.
So they forget to understand that when God first mentioned 2 days, creating, when he mentioned the earth, everything there in, and he said 4 days, it is inclusive with that 2 days he mentioned earlier.
Exactly, because it says within 4 days.
Yes, within 4 days.
Yeah.
So they don't pay attention to that because they have an ill agenda. So that's how some people approach verses, because they don't pay attention. They don't have the insight to understand what is being said. They are quick to just draw conclusions and say, oh, this is a contradiction. No, this cannot add. This cannot do this.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think I covered a lot here. Let me just check something quickly.
No problem.
Okay, I'm okay. For the inheritance, it's okay now.
Okay, yeah, you can rewatch the program to get clarity.
Yeah.
Yes, you rewatch. I'll leave that part open so you can rewatch the program so that you get clarity. Then you jot it down so that you understand the apportionment, how God stated it easily. Thank you for very much. Your name is Sami, right? What did you say your name is? Adam. Sorry, Adam.
Adam, yeah.
Thank you.
Adam.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate that. Yes, peace.
Yeah, thank you for having my call.
I appreciate you. Peace.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Since we don't have the following closely people, the connection people, the duty people, that's it. They don't want to call. That's it. Please tell Brother Amza Malik to stop wasting people's time with 4 hours, 5 hours. He should just, be a man. Let's have a dialogue, please. Tell him to stop wasting people's time. And when we have the dialogue, tell him we are going to invoke the curse of God on the liar. Yes. It's a waste of time to tell me to sit here to invoke the curse of God. No. I want you to come face to face. Let's have a dialogue. Then we invoke the curse of God on the liar who said Jesus has a father, who said Fatiha doesn't belong to the Quran, who said whatever. All the lies you are saying, come, let's have a face to face dialogue. And then we invoke the curse on you, the liar, inshallah. I pick up my last color, then we are done. Yes, Salam. Hello. Wa alaikum salam. Your name and where you're calling from?
I'm calling from Nigeria, and my name is Emilua.
Sorry, Emilua, right?
Emilua. Okay. Emilua is preferable. Emi.
Okay, Emi. Yes. Nice to meet you, Emi. How may I help you?
Okay. Basically, I joined your live late, and I've been watching you for a very long time.
Yeah.
So I basically do my own research and everything, and I came to the conclusion that Salat actually means to connect or to be in contact. And I saw that you were criticizing that, so I really want to have a clarification on that, because I really love you. I don't know if you have any disagreement with that. I'm just getting to know. So I really want to get your concept about why it's not connect or being in contact with God.
Okay. Let me help you out. How did you come across to the word connect?
Okay. Because I really can't say the numbers, but I can say what it is in it. I'm not really good with memorizing numbers like that, so I can't really quote verses. I can at least I know you were able to get the verse I'm talking about. So there is this verse in the Quran that talks about the keepers of hell asking them what landed them in hell, and they said they were among those who didn't pray. And for my own understanding, I was like, prayer is used loosely in that aspect, whereby even atheists, there was a verse that I realized for those that he took away from the shore, where they call unto him, and people pray. People invoke God in any way or the other. In fact, atheists do in their own, in a shaky period. And when I look at the meaning of pray, I saw it's like asking or seeking. So we do ask God loosely. So that got me into like, people do pray. Then why are the keepers of hell actually asking the question of what made them come to? And I said, those that they were not among those that pray. So prayer or pray is more deeper than just praying on his own. I have Christian family that do pray. I have Christian friends that do pray. And there are some Trinitarians that do pray. So I feel prayer on his own and in English aspects, it does not do justification to what. So I don't know if you understand. So I have to go deep.
When you're dealing with the Quran, do you just isolate a verse and that's it? You draw conclusion from isolating one verse?
No.
So then
the origin.
Okay.
So I'll just explain the origin of how I started dipping into what Salat actually means. Okay. So I went to look for the root word of what Salat means. I got in closely being connected and so when I tried to like make it consistent.
You say the root word of what?
Of Salat.
What is the root word?
Of being closely connecting.
Mention the word. Mention the word. What is the word? The root word. What is it?
I'm not really good in Arabic, but SLW like Salawa or something like that.
Salawa.
I'm not. Yeah, I think I'm not really good with Arabic.
And then you say it means what?
The English translation.
You say it means what?
Being close, being connected, in contact with. Just I know in English is really not one thing I can put in, but it should be in connection with God.
Where did you get that meaning?
Okay, I actually Googled and actually look at ChatGPT and other research things I can look forward to because I really need to.
You just said you are not good in Arabic language. You are just searching a meaning. Can I call you? You say Emmy, right?
Yeah, Emmy.
Emmy, if you are not good with English language and you take a dictionary, will you?
Arabic. I'm not saying English, bro. Arabic.
I say if. Listen to my statement.
Okay.
You listen. Don't interrupt. If you are not good in English language and you take English dictionary, will you be good at using the dictionary?
No, I won't be good with the English dictionary.
Okay. Let's bring that example back to the Arabic. What makes you think you are good at using that dictionary you just said you use?
Because from the translation of pray, I understand the English meaning of pray.
What does pray mean?
Pray means seeking or acting. The root word from Latin or so like that.
But seeking and acting to who?
A divine being.
A divine being, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I ask you, do you pray? And you pray, but you pray to a stone. Are you qualified?
Qualified in the Islamic reading.
And in terms of God, are you qualified to be?
No. If I pray to a stone, I'm not qualified.
Okay, so let's say I'm a Christian.
Okay.
And you are not a Christian. And I say, God bless you. Automatically, what do you think? What God do you think I'm talking about?
Depending if you are monotheistic or Trinitarian.
Thank you. So that is where context matters. So if God says they did not pray, they say they entered hell because they did not pray. The context to tell you they did not pray to God, because according to God, even disbelievers pray. According to God, disbelievers pray. But who do they pray to?
to the one who created them. It's just an instinct. You know how women
I said
react.
disbelievers. Disbelievers pray, but who did they pray to?
I can't really give you context, but
But
I believe people just.
how can you pray to something you don't know?
That's why I'm saying the contact is more deep than just pray. Because I
And so your
really-
choice, no, I just need to understand. Your choice is you just don't like the word pray, so you feel like contact. Okay. Do you understand the meaning of prayer? What does the word prayer mean?
Yeah. Okay. To give you sorry, I don't want to talk too much.
Okay,
I was not a Muslim before, so I do pray.
Okay, I say prayer. I'm using the word as a noun. The noun defines an action also. So the noun prayer, what does it mean?
To seek or to act.
I'm talking, you are telling me a verb. I'm telling you about the noun. The noun, when we say prayer, what is prayer?
The noun prayer. I really can't. Maybe I'm not. Really
It's an act of communicating with a deity or contacting a deity.
Contact. What about ritual? You can say ritual is contacting.
You are contacting a deity. If you are dealing with a deity, if you're dealing with God, it has to be a ritual aspect. How do you contact God? Tell me, if not a ritual way. How do you contact God? How can you communicate with God if not in a ritualistic way? How?
I won't say it's individualistic, but being in contact with God is through your deeds, through remembrance, through reflecting on His word. It goes more deeper than just
Okay, let's use this analysis. If I'm at work and I'm doing my work very well, am I in contact with the boss?
Kind of.
How?
Because the job is being given to you, and if you do it well, the boss will notice you.
So I'm in contact with my boss. That's what. If I'm doing my job, I'm talking about. You said it's about your deeds. Being in contact with God is about your deeds.
So I didn't say deeds. I said your daily. I don't have to put it. It's not really into one word. When Allah says we should reflect on His word, we should give His zakat, we should feed the needy, all those form of things.
So all those things is what to you? What is the word for that?
Obligations on the believers.
And I say, what does it define?
Okay, maybe deeds. I think I will go with the deeds.
Okay, deeds. Let's put deeds aside. We are still on the word salah.
Okay.
Now the salah, where did you get the meaning that it means connect or it means this or that? Where?
I use Google. I use articles and chats. GPT or what is it? AI. To actually I didn't even input any form of bias. I just wrote what is the root word for salat, and it brought it out for me.
So you asked the AI.
I have AI, Google, anywhere I can make research on.
Anyways, put that aside.
Okay.
Those things will not give you a certain answer. It can confuse you if you don't have knowledge. I'm not saying AI is fully lying to you or something, but you need to have knowledge so that in case the AI is lying to you, you can correct it. You need to have knowledge in terms of Google lying to you, you can correct it. If you don't have knowledge and you are listening to Google, you don't have knowledge, you are listening to the AI, there's a problem.
Okay.
Are you getting my point? So that is why it's good to seek knowledge before starting to tamper with searching the meaning of words.
Okay.
It is based on the searching the meaning of a word. You know the etymology of a word, where the word came from. Then you can now decipher and know if somebody is twisting a word, if somebody is lying, According to the Quran, even hypocrites, they establish salat. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, it does that. Do it for sure.
So how come they are doing the salat, but God is going to punish them? If that is your logic, According,
they are not really connecting.
no,
They're just doing the outward.
but then let's use your logic.
No.
According to your logic,
Okay.
you said it cannot be prayer because the people will be questioning hell.
No,
Because
okay,
oh
so,
wait, let me finish. You said it cannot be
sorry.
prayer because if it is prayer, why is it that the people in hell are being questioned that they will say, oh, because we did not pray, so that's why they are. So it doesn't mean prayer, it has to mean connect or contact, right? That's what you said.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm using your logic. Quran chapter 4 verse 142, it says the hypocrites also do salat. Quran chapter 107, Surah Al-Ma'un, it says, فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُسَلِّينَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ الصَّلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ. We have people who are doing the salat, but they are heedless of their salat.
Yeah.
Quran chapter 8 verse 34 to 35, verse 35, it tells you that disbelievers also do salat, but their salat is whistling and clapping. They do salat. So according to you, right? According to you, you said the people didn't do the salat, that's why they are being punished, because it means you didn't understand the context. But I want to make sure, prove to you that you didn't understand the context. So you say it cannot mean prayer, because if it means prayer, that means what?
Okay, I said if it means just prayer, then it's not really giving deep meaning to what salat is.
Thank you.
I believe.
So now put your word, the word you want, put it there. Let's see what it means. Then I'm going to use the same logic against you and see if it can stand. Put the word you like. What word do you want to use there?
Be in contact.
Okay, so they have not been in contact, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Quran chapter 8 verse 35, it says the disbelievers are in contact by whistling and clapping. Do you want to see the verse on the screen? Quran chapter 8 verse 35. This is the verse on the screen.
Okay.
So if we are using your logic, we are using the word contact, and their contact at the house was only singing and clapping. So taste the punishment for what you have been disbelieving. So which means they have been doing the contact, but God is still going to punish them. Why?
Because the way they are doing their contact is just like being endless about your connection. You know, when you are trying to connect with a thing and you are not doing it the proper way.
Now you mentioned contact. Now you are mentioning connection again.
Now, saying being in contact, you see, the issue with English is that we can't really put a word like, okay, being connected, being in contact, it's the same thing. I don't know if maybe you see a difference. I'm not saying. I don't know. You can educate me on that. But being in connection, being in contact is still like more deeper than just, I don't know how to put it, just praying or asking. It's just like the way of life. Instead of saying religion. You know, when you say religion, it's kind of limiting what Islam is, but the way of life, like
how is it limiting what Islam? Have you seen God before?
I've not seen God before.
Do you have faith in God?
Sure.
That is religion.
Okay, if you say so, maybe my definition of religion is
unless if you want to hypocritical take faith out. Tell me you don't have faith, then we take it out. Then you are not religious. The moment you deal with faith, that is religion.
So without following a prescribed structure,
everything about the Quran is prescription. Look, Siyam is prescribed. God has prescribed fasting. As Kutiba alaykum Siyam is prescription. When God wants you to do something, He prescribes it. It's in the Quran. He says when you are getting up for the salat, you should wash your faces, right? Isn't that a prescription?
Yeah.
Okay. So now, have you seen God? The answer is no. Have you seen angels before? The answer is no. That is faith. If you put faith in things you don't see and you are following the instructions of that, what you are being told, that is religion.
Okay.
That is religion.
I have a different perspective of religion.
No, you are giving us the perspective of a man-made religion. There's two different things we are talking about. If you are giving the perspective of a man-made religion, that is institutionalized concept of religion.
Okay. But we still go back to what I want to ask on this religion aspect so I can get educated on it more.
Okay.
Do you believe atheists or agnostic, they do have religion?
Do they believe in God?
Nah.
So then take them out of the equation. We are not talking about them.
Okay. So the ayah of Surah Kafirun, that it says to you is your deen, to me, mine is my deen. It's not including them, right? Because I
the
was
literal
thinking,
word for the word kafir is ungrateful person.
yeah, sure. I love that too.
Yes.
They are real grateful, yeah. So now I'm asking because at the beginning it was for the disbeliever, then instead to you is your deen, to me is my deen.
Exactly.
So
we can have somebody who is in a religion but is a disbeliever. We have Christians who are disbelievers. We have Sunnis who are disbelievers. We have Shia who are disbelievers. You tell them God says something, they will reject it. So there's nothing wrong saying still somebody is a disbeliever.
Yeah, I just want to clarify, like the ayah does not include the agnostic and atheists, right?
Of course, based on that context, those type of disbelievers mentioned in 109, they are worshiping something.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm watching that ayahs. No, atheists, they are very clouded with their evolution thing.
But even atheists have faith. They have faith in evolution. They have never seen evolution before. The atheists themselves. But they put their faith in there. So when you put your faith, that's another form of religion.
Okay. I feel I can still agree to disagree here, which does not contradict each other. Either faith, I mean their way of life or thing.
Okay, but anyways, before I go, because when you are talking about the word salat and you say it doesn't mean, look, that logic can also go against you, whatever word you choose to put there. You can contradict yourself. You just need to stay in the parameters of the Quran, how Quran explains things in different chapters and different verses. Don't just isolate one verse and draw conclusion and say, oh, it cannot mean prayer. Because if it means prayer, this one, it will contradict. No, that's not how it works.
No. That's not what I mean. No, brother. I mean prayer based on the English meaning. Prayer. English meaning.
Because this is what translation is about. It's not limited. Look, when people take my translation, I didn't limit the salat to prayer. Sometimes you see me translating litany, liturgy, communication, prayer. You have to understand the context in which they appear. It's not only limited to a word, but when you bring a new meaning which doesn't suit the word, that is a foul play.
Okay.
The proper word for connection, the proper word for connection in Arabic is wasala. Wasal.
Wasal.
Yes, wasal. You can look it up. I did a lecture on that, but you can look it up. It starts with waw, and then swad, and the lam. That is wasala. That is the proper word for connection.
So how do you interpret that ayah that I think David Wood and Muhammad Ijab did? I was talking about Allah and angels were doing Yusolu.
That one comes from the root word wasala. That is an act of connection. That is an act of reaching out. That one is the act of connection.
Okay, so what you're trying to say is salat includes connection, but is not the
no. Salat has a different root word. Salat is salawa, different root word from wa sala.
I wish I could understand. Yeah,
thank you. So that is where the problem is. When people don't understand the structures, that is where they play with words and start bringing meanings, and then they think, oh, I think it means that. No, it doesn't work like that. This is what people don't understand. So you see, I'm saying things that you are even confused. You don't even know what I'm talking about because you haven't studied that.
Islam is not for all Arabs. Like, we have to
understand. Yeah, Quran is for everybody. It's for mankind. It's not limited to Arabs only. But you need to seek knowledge to approach something, because you can't just follow something when you don't have knowledge. You see the point? Because then you cannot have a discussion. You cannot have arguments. Because then the moment you have something is mentioned and you don't know, people will just get tired. They'll be like, this guy doesn't know. So then they leave you.
So the best thing is not even discuss it out. Just try and do your thing.
No, exactly. You if you're following something you are not sure of, don't practice it yet till you're convinced.
No, I don't think because I've been following you. That's why I actually like, wow, this guy I've been following is against this. Let me try and bring it up.
I'm against when I'm against something. When you see me against something, I'm against it based on proofs and evidence. I'm not just based on my whims and desire. No, I don't do that. Anything you see me talking about, I can use evidence to strike that thing down.
Okay, so which dictionary will you prescribe to me?
I would suggest for you, for your level, start using reverso.net, Reverso or Almani. Start using Almani. Almani gives you modern and classical Arabic words. And then Reverso also gives you some modern versions and some few classical. Start with that. It helps you with the morphology of words. You get across to understand how words work. Anyways, let me leave you now. I have to go now.
Yeah, I will try and do my own session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Peace. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I have to bring the topic to an end. For those on TikTok, let me join you now. Those on TikTok, my phone is actually giving me a hint that is going for low battery. Let me try to charge it before it goes off. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I'm bringing the topic to an end. Oh, somebody again wants to talk. Oh, seriously, I have a question. Okay. Salam alaikum. Wa alaikum salam, my sister. Yes. Your name and where you're calling from? Oh yeah. My sister, can you mute the video you are watching because the sound is coming here? Salam to you, Sister Fatima Chin. Can you mute the video? Okay, I can hear you now. Just one question, please, before I go. I'm going to TikTok.
Okay. My name is Nora. And I'm from Seattle, Washington.
Okay, Seattle. Okay, Nora, nice to meet you. How may I help you?
Yes, you as well. I just had a question. So I've been on like the Quran alone and following God's guidance for about a year and a half now. But one of the biggest struggles has been with dealing with my like father, who when I bring verses from the Quran really like retaliates against me and kind of disbelieves, but it like just grows and increases in disbelief. And I just don't know. There's a part of me that gets really angry, and then there's a part of me that tries to have mercy and understanding. So I was wondering if you could show me some verses that could like point me in the right direction of how to deal with that situation.
How long have you been having this issue?
It comes on and off. The closer I get to the Quran, it's been about a year and a half ever since I went down this journey.
Are you alone in this journey where you are?
No, me and my husband both are on the same journey.
Okay, you see there's a verse in Quran chapter 23 verse 97. You have to use it frequently. I've given it to a lot of people and it actually helped them. Quran chapter 23 verse 97, I can put it on the screen. This is the verse in Surah Al-Mu'min, chapter of the believers. It says, say, Lord, I seek protection with you against the temptations of the devils. And I seek protection with you, Lord, lest they attend to me. Now, it is the devil who actually caused this type of incitement in people's head or minds. If you read Quran chapter 41, verse 36, right? God says, and whenever an incitement from the devil incites you to evil, then seek protection with God. Then indeed, he is the hearer, the omniscient, because he hears. That's why the verse says he is the hearer, because he hears what you have to say. You understand? So whenever an incitement from the devil incites you to evil, then seek protection with God. Indeed, he is the hearer, the omniscient. It is the devil who whispers to people, try to let people act in certain pattern or ways that they are not pleased with. You see, so it is based on your invocation, what you tell God, because God says, call me and I'll respond to you. That is Quran chapter 40, verse 60. If you have any issue, you have to call on God. I give you the verse here. Quran chapter 40, verse 60. This is what he says. He says, and your Lord said, invoke me and I will respond to you. Indeed, those who are arrogant to worship me will enter hell piling up. Now, what happens usually when people who don't want to worship God, they end up going in a direction where the devils are going to be inciting them to a lot of things. But then when you want to stick to God, that is when you have to be calling on God to interfere or intervene with certain aspects that you're facing, right? Some things are beyond our physicality, is spiritual. And when something is spiritual, it is God you have to call to intervene.
Okay.
You see, of course, Rome was not built in a day. It doesn't mean just at once you just do it and then voila, no. Sometimes there are steps that you can take also to do that. You understand? Myself, sometimes back in the days, I used to sleep. I'll have bad dreams. I'll have nightmares. And then I'll do some supplications. I'll get up. I'll do the night's prayer. And then done. Nothing comes. Then after a while, when I'm very, loose, I get up again. My supplication, I contact God. I go and I wash up, ablution. I go and stand in front of God. I tell God what I want. Spiritually, you need to connect with God also. So sometimes in the spiritual aspect, when we are very loose also, such things can actually get over us.
Okay. Yes. I think it's more so like there's certain things where we would talk, like, for example, I try to kind of judge between the Quran. So, for example, one of the things I asked my father, he's a Sunni, he follows the Sunni way, praying 5 times a day. Deal.
Yeah.
And why do you pray 2 in silent and 3 out loud? And then he told me because God told us that. I told him, but in the Quran that it is nowhere to be found.
Yeah, it is nowhere.
The middle voice. And so then he told me, he always kind of turns it back on me and is like, no, you're just misguided. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the reason why he will say that is because he thinks you are just naive. He thinks you're a kid, you are young, and he thinks you don't have knowledge. So, parents have this kind of mindset when they think like you are just a child. That's what they think, right? Even with me back in the days, my parents would think the same thing, but now it's different. My dad actually respects my wisdom and knowledge. You understand? Because he knows I know now. He knows I can prove the things I say. I was in Ghana recently. That 2 months ago, I was in Ghana. I did a conference. My father actually attended the conference. He was sitting there. And after the conference, he hugged me and he told me he's proud of me, that I made him proud. So the point is, sometimes parents belittle what you know, right? Because they don't see you in that picture or in that position to think that you are knowledgeable. So he thinks, well, what are you saying? That's the problem. So you just have to be polite, just ask him questions, but don't challenge his views, because according to God, you cannot guide the ones you love.
Yes, that's true.
Yes, you can't. So you just need to be polite, but you can just be curiously asking him questions pertaining to what he does. If he says something is in the Quran, just say, Dad, I need the verse. I just want to study. That's all. But don't be like a knapsack to him. Don't be like on his neck. He will get tired of you. He will even avoid you. Sometimes if you insist, sometimes you want to visit him, you say, no, don't come. I'm not home. To be honest, when it comes to the religious aspect, dealing with God, people can get tired with you easily. They will run away from you.
Oh, definitely. Yes.
Yes. Because for you, when you just receive guidance, you are so eager, you are curious. You are like, Dad, why can't you see what I'm seeing? No, he can't see. No.
Yes. I think that it's really big test.
Yeah, that's the point. He cannot see what you're seeing, because in the first place, he's looking at you as, this little girl that I used to wash her panties. Now she's going to tell me. So he like, dads have that kind of mindset. Unless if God takes the veil out of his face, then he's willing to listen to you and respect you. So if your dad is willing to respect you in other walks of life, like in terms of food, in terms of medication, in terms of other things, there are ways you can use the same tactic to get his mind in terms of religious aspect.
Okay.
Yes, you have to use the same tactic.
You have to kind of be strategic.
Same tactic, meaning if your dad takes your food and nutrition advice, if you are just the one who gives him advice in terms of his nutrition and he listens to you, and in terms of his clothing choices and he listens to you, and in terms of what he has to do in his daily activities and he listens to you, in the religious aspect, don't act like you know more than him. You just act like curious. You ask him curious questions. You just see what he knows and what he doesn't know. Then you use what he doesn't know against him. Then you ask him a question. What if, Dad? What if you are wrong?
Yes. Yeah, a lot of that just ends up with like closing, like, oh no, let's not talk about it. No, you're wrong. I know more.
Yeah. Then when he said let's not talk, then you just take it in a jovial aspect. You say, Dad, I think you're admitting you're wrong. You don't just want to expose your ignorance.
Yes. Yeah.
To be honest, I sat my father down. That was 8 years ago. We sat down face to face, and I told Dad, I want to put you to the test. I want to strip you out of your fatherhood just for a few minutes. I just want to take your fatherhood out. I take your authority over me as an old man over me out. I take your power away from you. I did all that to my father. We spoke for 15 minutes, and I told him if he knows, he should say, yes, I know, and prove it. If he doesn't know something, he should keep quiet. I asked him questions he couldn't answer. Yes, I asked him questions. And I told him, just imagine on the day of judgment, you standing in front of God, you thinking you are the president, you thinking you are powerful, you think you are this. God will strip all this power away from you, and only your deeds can save you on that day. That's the truth.
Yes.
So now you just imagine. So our parents had time taking off that power that they cannot overlook, because when they are talking to you, they are still looking at you as that little child, that little girl. You understand, who used to be naive, excuse me to say, who used to pee in the pants, who used to. So your father will just be looking at you, belittling you with a different eye, but you don't see the way he's looking at you. So when you automatically now think you know something, he's like, you say something, it's like, oh, you're just a girl. He will not take you seriously.
Yes, my dad is also older. He's 78.
So that is a difficult time. That is a difficult age to convince.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
but I definitely see him still seeing me, as a child, even though I'm, well into my 20s. But like, I don't know. It can be really difficult.
It is difficult. I know for a lady it's more emotional than for a man. For men, we have a different way of handling issues like this. For ladies, you guys get very into the emotional aspect because you feel like you want so much to you have, because you love the person, you want to convince the person, but it doesn't work that way. And sometimes as a woman, you feel like he should know, but it doesn't work like that for a man also. Sometimes you feel like this is so easy. How come Dad doesn't see this? He doesn't see it the way you see it. So sometimes it takes the point that you have to use his weakness against him, meaning the things that he takes your advice on, use that same criteria for the religious discussion. Those things that he normally listens to you when it comes to his medication, when it comes to his appointments that you have to help him to go, and he listens to you on all those aspects. Use that same aspect, similar aspect, to talk about religion with him.
Okay. Definitely will do.
Just one day, just do that when he's in a happy mood. No, don't do that when he wants to be quiet in a quiet time, because usually, women, excuse me to say, you guys want to bring up topic when we want to be silent, when men want to be silent, but women want to talk. So when he is in the happy mood, you bring out it. Just ask him, Dad, are you really convinced that if you die now, you're going to heaven? Yeah, that thought would put him in a state where he has to start thinking deeply. He will start questioning some of his deeds and actions. Then he will ask you, what makes you say this? Then you say, what if what you're doing is wrong?
It's interesting because there are times where we see that it seems like the veil kind of flips, and then he starts to question, but then he turns back. It's not. We see it like in real time.
I call it hypnosis. He's in a hypnotic state. I don't blame him that much because he has been indoctrinated since he was a kid, right? So when you have been indoctrinated since you are a child, it's very difficult to untie that knot.
Yes. Well, what's interesting is that my dad actually grew up in a Catholic and converted to Sunni Islam.
How many years has he been a Sunni?
50 plus.
Oh my God.
Since he was 25.
Oh my God. That is a lot.
Yes.
So that's why he will not take you seriously, because he's thinking for 50 years he has been a Sunni, and out of nowhere, you in your 20s will start telling him. Oh my God.
Yeah.
At that age, excuse me to say, they are very stubborn to be convinced. Unless if God, but you keep praying for him, God can touch his soul.
Definitely.
And he can touch his soul, and you'll be shocked. You'll be shocked that he, with my father, I have to go through the same. It goes to a point where my father nearly disowned me.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Does he still practice?
My dad is, I would say he's 70% conscious of God now. Like he understands. He do ask me questions if he doesn't have clarity. He'll call me and say, Baba, I want to know about this. Does God say this? Did he say we should do that? Did he say we should do this? He's curious. He wants to know. So he has started trimming away the shirk aspect away from this thing.
That's
Yeah. And then the point is, you can't force guidance on the parents, but you can give them the chance. Meaning, if they are willing to take your advices, you can just tell them, Dad, if I give you advice concerning medicine, you listen to me, right? He will say, yeah. If I tell you about this, you listen to me, right? He say, yeah. Then why is it that now when I'm talking about religion, you're brushing it off? You understand? That is when he will explain. But when you see him avoiding those topics, because it is something that can get him emotional, that's why he's telling you, let's stop it. Yeah, because he cannot stand to look at you in the face and tell you that the 50 years of him practicing a Sunni Islam is a waste of time. Yeah. Sometimes it's something that people cannot fathom. It's not easy to just know that 50 years of our life is a waste of time.
Definitely, that's true. I mean, I break myself, when I was guided to the path, I myself was in disbelief. I just couldn't believe what was happening. So, and that was only me being on like Sunni Islam for 2 years. Not imagine like 50 years of time. That's really.
Unfortunately, Sister Noura, your line is breaking. So I think this is where we should leave the call for now. We can continue some other day when I'm online, God willing. Thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you.
I appreciate you, and keep your father in prayers. God willing, God will touch his soul. It's not impossible, right? So do that. Yes. I appreciate your time, and my regards to your husband also. Peace.
Thank you. Bye.
Salam. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is where correctional officer has to bring the topic to an end. Unfortunately, I didn't want to go over 3 hours, but I've done already. I'm going to TikTok. Even though my phone is on low battery, I might try to stay there for like an hour. Yeah, so kindly join me on TikTok if you're willing. But this is where I bring the topic to an end till we meet again next week, and tell the mega hypocrites they should call me for a dialogue. Peace out. Always give them a reason to remember your name. The correctional officer.